everybody. Welcome to the Fish and Grits podcast. Coming off the bye week, we had a little bit of extra rest. Episode 15. Don't have an episode title for this one yet. I'm hoping it's going to be something good, though. I'm joined by my compatriots, my amigos, my day ones, Marco Restrepo.
Do you smell?
He made an eyebrow for all y'all in the audio only version of this podcast. Micah Poole.
All right, okay, yeah.
And the guy who looks kind of like he took a picture of me and then inverted the colors a little bit in Photoshop, Ryan Dollar.
Hey guys.
Hey you guys. What's up, dudes?
Chilling.
So much, man.
Enjoying some
Okay.
NBA playoff basketball.
Yeah. You know, funny basketball thing really quick. I saw somebody was like talking about like, oh, the NBA, their ratings suck. It's because they're, so political, their ratings suck. And I learned something by following that Twitter conversation down the rabbit hole. There are a lot of people who follow sports through podcasts and like news articles that like really, really like sports, but won't watch it until like the NBA finals.
Really?
Like they just don't watch it. I'm the opposite. I'm over here like we got 12 p.m. We got a noon game. Like hell yeah. Like I'm over here like in a meeting, right? But like with the game pulled up on my iPad next to my computer, just like I dig it, man. But there are a ton of people that are like
awesome for basketball. It's like March Madness, but for NBA.
Right. So everyone's like, oh man, the ratings are terrible. It's like, well, first off, bitch, the games are all like in the afternoon, right? So number one. Number two, I guess like people just aren't going to watch until it starts getting deep into the playoffs. And I didn't understand that. But now that I know that a lot of people get all of their sports like coverage from podcasts, I'm going to suddenly start taking this very seriously.
But does that mean that the ratings are down compared to NBA ratings or compared to other things on TV?
All TV ratings are down, but I guess
Right.
the NBA ratings are down compared to NBA ratings.
Because that's hard to substantiate the ratings for something that is played out in series.
Yeah.
Because obviously not every, a game 7 is going to have more equity than a game 1. Against
It's mostly like a
one
Trumpy conversation point, because they're obsessed with TV ratings.
Right, and they just want to invalidate something.
Yeah. Today's episode is brought to you by this White Claw that I'm drinking. I hadn't had White Claw before like last week, and I've been like trying to hate on it because I don't really like sparkling water in general. I was like, you put booze in it, I bet that tastes like shit. No, this is the real deal. So I will be going by Jennifer from now on because now I'm a basic white girl. This episode is also brought to you by my WNBA hoodie that came like 2 weeks after I was complaining about how I didn't get it. Jess said she was listening to that episode and she heard when I was trying to figure out where my hoodie is. And she said, it sounded like you did a Key and Peele. And then I said, bitch, which reminded me about that episode of Key and Peele, which that skit is probably like my second favorite or third favorite Key and Peele skit. It's up there with like the alien invasion one.
Yeah.
Where like they can tell if someone's an alien by figuring out how racist they are. And the substitute teacher.
Yeah, that one's
son of a bitch.
I only really remember one Key and Peele sketch.
You don't know the AA Ron and
where's AA Ron at right now?
The football, the draft one. That's the one I remember.
Oh, those are pretty good. Hingle McCringleberry.
Yeah.
I dig it. He plays for the Washington football team. Some current events. I don't know if you guys have been figuring or paying attention to this. Donald Trump is a real piece of shit. And so he has this thing about voting by mail, right? It's his newest voter suppression thing. So he was tweeting about how Florida has like a great mail-in voting thing, right? Like Florida's great at it.
Except they can't figure out what hanging chads are.
Right.
What is it hanging?
But then he's like, but Nevada, on the other hand, their vote by mail system is corrupt. So like it's just more like Republican projecting as far as I'm concerned. Remember, they're like dead people vote,
Oh yeah.
and then they send dead people stimulus checks.
Yeah. Good job.
You know,
There's like 90,000 dead people, or like 9,000.
Yeah,
It was
and
a lot.
it's all because they didn't check like the Social Security dead people registry. Like they just didn't check the spreadsheet. You know, like this some shit. What else have they done recently that makes me? Oh, the whole like they're like, you know, lots of people are all about, you know, the Democrats are all eating babies and they're all child molesters. But then like Dennis Hastert, you know, is in prison for child molestation, and Jim Jordan, the representative from Wisconsin, it has been credibly accused when he was a state or a high school wrestling coach of knowingly abetting coaches who were molesting boys as high school.
So Penn State, essentially.
Yeah, he was paternoing it. You know, there's a bunch of that stuff. Oh, Donald Trump, by the way, votes by mail.
Hey, you remember that time you
Florida.
were in the military and how hard it was to vote by mail, Lionel? Wasn't that terrible?
I voted in person. I was
Oh, you were
I was
lucky enough to-
stateside for every election, every presidential election.
I was in basic for one, so I got to vote by mail.
No, we were stateside for 2008. But yeah, so like Donald Trump's like, people, you know, during World War II, people voted. I was like, yeah, they voted by mail, you piece of shit.
3 million soldiers voted by mail.
Oh man, he votes by mail. So anyway, so he appoints this douchebag as like the postmaster general, and Republicans have been trying to privatize the postal system for decades. They want the post office to no longer be a government thing because, you know, they're all about small government. But it sucks for them because the post office is actually listed in the Constitution. Like it says like you'll have a post office in the Constitution. So this postmaster general is like closing up mailboxes and like instructing mail carriers to, or postal employees to not sort the mail. And that's that happened to me. Like I ordered a book from Eagle Eye Books in Decatur, and they shipped this shit. It took Ryan, Eagle Eye Books in Decatur, I could drive there in like 20 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It took a week for the book to get to me because they shipped it to Memphis, and then it just sat in Memphis.
They shipped it to Memphis.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. So like it's just a whole bag of shit because Donald Trump, what he's trying to do is he's trying to make it so that like, you know, absentee ballots and stuff like that don't I don't want to do that. They don't get counted right away. So what Donald Trump's trying to do is he's trying to make it so that he can, you know, say, oh, the election's not valid or whatever. So like a bunch of Democrats were like crying about it and like tweeting. They're like, man, someone should do something about this. And all the leftists I follow are like, yeah, dummy, that's your whole job.
Oops.
Like if only someone would do something about it. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Amy Klobuchar have had some really shitty like mail puns that they've tweeted out. He's just like, we're going to take this post office stuff that Donald Trump is doing and market return to sender. I'm like, that would be cool, man. But why don't you hold like hearings? So the House, right. Well, yeah. So Pelosi finally recalled the House, and the House Oversight Committee has got some real firecrackers on it. I think AOC's on that committee. Mm-hmm. And the Postmaster General is so scared of them ladies that he decided to stop doing his post office meddling until after the election. This was just announced today. So I can't wait to watch him get like absolutely dismantled.
Reamed.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So again, please vote. If you live in a place where it's hard to vote early or request your ballot and return it now. Lots of states, you cannot return your own ballot. Or you can't have someone else return your ballot. You have to return it, but you can drive it to a polling place. You can drop it. There's, you know, please. I vote in person just because we live in Georgia. Brian Kemp's the governor. Yeah, man. I don't trust the voting machines either, but whatever. But please vote and just do your best. Let's get these fuckers. Let's get them out of office. Oh, the other thing, the post office. You should care about the post office because the post office is the only parcel carrying service that is prohibited by law from opening your mail and your packages. UPS, FedEx, DHL, they can open your shit whenever they want, but the post office cannot. I like the post office. You know, wasn't there a mailman in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood?
Yeah.
He washed his feet with him in a
That was a police officer.
an episode about it was with the
He was a police officer.
Oh, how do you know about that episode?
It's pretty well known.
I know Mr. Rogers fairly well.
Why did you?
I like how Marco's like, how do you know Mr. Rogers?
No, I'm saying like,
How do you know him?
Dude, we didn't have cable growing up, bro. We weren't born in 2000 like you, man. Like
the only reason I knew about that episode is because I saw the documentary about him.
Oh, okay. The other thing I want to let you guys know, I just registered with a political action committee called Run for Something, which helps young, progressive, and anti-racist candidates find races to run for. So with my newfound status as a potential political candidate for office, I would like to repeat a few things. Fuck the police, fuck Donald Trump, and fuck the KKK. I want to be on record with all of that. So I also hope to do we can expand the podcast universe when I start running, like we could just have like a hanging out with Lionel podcast, just like get to know your candidate for state Senate, District 8. The Republican who's currently my state senator is a Tottenham fan. So I already have like my attack ad ready. It's like, how can you possibly trust a man with your vote if he willingly roots for a team with no trophies?
Oh, crap.
Anybody that's a Falcons fan.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We have an NFC Championship trophy, bitch.
Oh, okay. So you mean
we have two.
Yeah.
Tottenham has no trophies, dude.
Oh,
none. And then our last piece of current events, some really good news. Andy Bunker, friend of the show. We love Andy. Midday host on 929 The Game.
A consensus for best Andy that we know.
Best Andy that we know. He and his wife just welcomed a new member of their family. So we'd like to say welcome and happy birthday to Lillian Bunker. I hope mom and baby are doing really well. We love Tucker. Sorry, Tucker
said, "Where's the baby?"
Tucker just busted in my room like he's the cops, like he had a no knock. So yeah, congratulations to the Bunker family. Lillian, you can come on the show whenever you want. We hope. Andy, good luck sleeping for the rest of your life. I'll send you a case of this White Claw once we're ready. Okay.
Hey, he's officially off prohibition now. Remember, now that the baby's out, he can drink again.
So we can have like a parking lot party. I'll bring a cooler of White Claw since that's my thing now. It's only got 100 calories, man, which is more than a Michelob Ultra.
Here comes Jennifer.
I personally love the mango. I got the sampler pack. I felt pretty good about myself. Let's get to the show. It's been a while. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. So to kick off our first segment, we're going to kick it to our resident NFL head. He's got some bad opinions. His name is Ryan Dollar, and this is the Grits Blitz.
Hey, don't undersell my opinions. They're terrible. They're not bad.
The Grits Blitz. They might not be the worst front office in Atlanta, but they're definitely
Hear me out. They may have the least championships out of all of our teams, but so guys, y'all remember when Alex Smith destroyed his leg? What was it, 2017, 2018?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 17.
Y'all saw those pictures, right? His recovery.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all haven't seen him yet? Oh my God. It doesn't look like a human leg anymore. He went through 17.
It's like a bionic leg.
Yeah, it looks like a mangled pig. What it looks like to me is a pig that's been skinned or like shaved and it's like hanging up. It's like, this isn't right. This doesn't look like human flesh anymore. But he went through 17 surgeries. They placed pins, they regrafted things. But the craziest thing I've ever heard of is they took part of his thigh muscle and moved it down onto his shin in order to save his leg. So if you look at his ankle, it's big. Like it's got a muscle on the front of it. It looks real
Science
weird.
is crazy, man.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
So I'm not going to put it up because I don't want the people on YouTube to see it if they don't have to. But he got cleared, medically cleared 2 days ago now, I think, or yesterday, to make a return to football. The doctor said, you know what, you're good to go. He's permanently going to be wearing that leg sleeve that y'all have probably seen him in, that big black leg sleeve and his weird shoe. But I mean, he's technically a member of the Washington football team now, an active member of that roster. So, well, actually they haven't activated him, but he's cleared. So we'll see how that goes. Do y'all think he's actually going to be able to come back and be effective at all?
Hell
More
no.
than Mitch Trubisky. But I want to ask you a question, Ryan. Would you play football again after that?
God, no.
That's
he
what I'm
almost
saying.
lost his leg. He should have lost his leg.
No
He
job
did
is
do
worth
good
that,
things.
bro. But I love playing the game. Yeah, okay, man. I love playing PlayStation, but if half my face burned off because my controller exploded, my ass would not be playing PlayStation anymore. And I would be suing Sony because I'm not rich like Alex Smith.
You know who a better person to ask that question is Micah. I think Micah would probably have a differing opinion than
Because
me, or
Micah loves
most of
the
us.
game.
Because Micah likes to play hard.
I like to play good hook it, shook it football back when wide receivers didn't exist. You couldn't have a forward pass. Pop Warner ruined the game. I'm sorry.
Nah, my thing is as long as it took him to recover, as badly as his leg was broken, and considering he was a mobile quarterback before the leg injury, and I'd be trying to see if I can get some kind of cushy job in the front office. Hey, let me be an assistant. Let me be an offensive assistant or something like that. That way you can still get paid to be around the game, but I definitely wouldn't be trying to play it. Especially he walking around like with like he got a club foot or something on. So I would not be trying to take any more shots. It just no. I can teach the game and interact with the game in a different facet. I'm not stepping on the field though.
I wonder if he has to get on the field, or at least attempt to get back onto the field in order to claim part of that contract that he's still owed.
Possibly.
That's the only. I'm thinking he knows it's over. I mean, he ran through drills and he looked okay. But I know, Lionel, you didn't see this because you're not on Instagram at the moment. But I sent both of y'all a video about this. And did you see him, like when his 2-year-old or his son ran up him with champagne and he tried to like sidestep him? He looked clumsy. He looked like he didn't trust that leg at all.
Like I said, it's like he got a club foot. Like when Forrest Gump had the leg braces on. That's how he moves now.
Right.
Do you think that we can like airbud this situation? Like, do you think that there's anything in the rules that prohibits him from using like a hoverboard or like a Segway in the pocket, So instead of like running back, he could just like lean back, or he could always pull the Cam Newton no-step drop, right? Like just sit in the shotgun and then turn and throw a slant.
That might be the way that he has to be used, but
or maybe do like the Mike Vick experience with the shoulder straps on like a roller coaster, and it moves him around for him.
Just get like a robotic exoskeleton. I don't know, man. I just think like Alex Smith is already rich, and like, yeah, the Washington D.C. metro area football team owes him some money, right? But at the same time, he can't be an any worse color analyst than Jason Witten. So like,
yeah.
Go hop on one of these Fox broadcasts, try to be the next Tony Romo, and then go play golf for the rest of your life, man. You earned it, dude.
Before we move on,
he could play golf like that. I don't even know if he could do all that.
Okay, thanks, Debbie Downer. You don't talk for the whole time we start the show, and it's just to shit on me about a golf reference.
Oh, I will say though that I don't know if y'all saw this the other day that Pat Mahomes was talking about Alex Smith, and he's like, he's the reason that I have the knowledge of the pro football game today. He's like, he gave me all these things that you're not supposed to learn until like you have in year 7 and 8, and he gave them to me. So he's like, thanks, Alex Smith.
You were bad, Alex.
Yeah. Oops.
Well, I mean, that's why if I were him, I'd see if I could get some kind of coaching job,
Right.
and be like, hey, I want to help Haskins come along and be the future of the franchise.
Is that why Pat Mahomes never learned how to read a defense? Because he was too busy learning things like 7 years down the line.
I don't need to know. I'll get to that.
It's a throwback to our last show.
Oh, man. All right. So, in other injury news, I remember talking to you guys about this in the group chat not too long ago about the Dallas Cowboys AARP defensive line this year. I think their average age is like 31 on the D-line. Well, one of their members went down this week, Gerald McCoy, who they recently acquired from the Panthers via free agency, I believe. But he ruptured his quad, and they reached an injury settlement with him. So he's now released. He's now out of that.
I thought it was an ACL.
It was his quad. He ruptured it completely.
That's it for him, man.
Yeah, I mean, 32, you rupture your quad at that age. That injury already sets you back explosiveness level like way back.
Especially for defensive line where that release off the line is more important than anything else.
And he's not a big mauler like Sue or any of them. He relies on those quick moves. So
I'm sure he's got enough game checks to ride off into the sunset by now.
Yeah, I mean,
he's going to own a whole bunch of Papa John's too.
I told Kobe. I told Phil.
Oh man, yeah. So any bad news for the Cowboys is always good news for me, but I don't like when people get hurt.
The Dallas metropolitan area Cowboys.
Oh, did y'all see that that Instagram video I sent y'all from the Falcons the other day?
Oh yeah.
What was
it?
Yeah, so it was a video. It was called A Day in the Life. Apparently, a lot of teams are doing this, and it's kind of to show their fans how they're handling COVID and how they're running training camp in this time. And this was really cool to me because the NFL never really released anything. They never said as rules or guidelines how they are going to handle this, and that's why players up to like the first week or the last week before training camp kicked off, we had those the hashtags we want to play, but they didn't know what they were going to do. So now teams are releasing, I guess, for press and to relax the minds of some fans, these day in the life videos, which is still cool. And the representative for the Falcons was Foye Oluokun. And what it did is it started off at like 6 a.m. when he's getting to camp, and he says, I've got to go on my phone. I got to do a survey. This is every day I get here, and answer these questions to gauge his exposure, his possible exposure to people who have COVID. And he does that, and he goes to the station, does his temperature scan, does the nasal swab, and then he goes into, then he goes from there to where he would normally go into the locker rooms, but instead the dormitories that they have on the backside of Flowery Branch, they've converted those into locker rooms, and they've given each player a room. So the dormitory room, now each one is a player's locker. So they now have personal showers, they have bathrooms, they have all that space, and they're not cramped into one large room together. And
so they get ready in their rooms.
Yeah. So I mean, that's their locker room now. So it limits exposure on that end. And anywhere they go, they have to wear masks in between the field and their rooms. And they're also using those NBA style wristbands with the GPS trackers on them. So they can, if they do come back as a positive, they can say, okay, you've been around this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Those guys are all out. So they're doing a good job so far as far as like implementing technology and using what other leagues have done. And it's kind of made me feel like we could have football so long as this happens. But another thing they're doing as well, because, usually after practice in training camp, they do their practice on the field and they go shower and they go back and then they go do like 4 or 5 hours of film study. They're not doing it on campus. They're sending everyone home. And they're doing it all remotely via Zoom and other apps like that. So they're really trying to limit exposure. They're really keeping these players as safe as they possibly can. it's still a contact sport. So we'll
I wonder
see.
if the Seahawks are also using those GPS bands. When that one chick dressed as a football player, that one dude who wasn't a dude. went into the ring with him.
That was like what they had, like two strippers, like one sitting on top of the other one's shoulders and like a trench coat with a hat on. It was like, no, man, this is my new offensive line buddy,
I think they were side by side.
Ben Johnson.
With like two legs per pant per pant leg.
Excuse me, sir. Are you actually an NFL lineman, or are you just two thoughts in a trench coat?
They answered in unison.
So I hope that this locker room situation kills my least favorite part of American sports, not the greed, the post-game locker room interview. Let the men shower and be naked. Okay? Like, just give them their space. We're the only country in the world where it's just like, hey, you just played a game, you're really sweaty. I can see that you're wearing a jockstrap. The guy behind you is putting baby powder on his nuts. What did you think of your intensity on the offensive side of the ball this week? Like, leave them alone.
I almost feel like those are sort of out of vogue. I don't even recall seeing those as much anymore as we used to.
Every game, man. That's one of the things.
It's definitely
about,
still a thing in the NBA.
Well, they do it in the MLS too. That was one of the things that PT was saying was an adjustment. And he's like, I'm not used to beating my drawers and having people come up to me and ask me about, like, how come I can't hit a cross? You know? I don't know, man. Ryan, I hope you're right. I hope we get a little bit of football. But at the same time, the Cardinals and the MLB are dealing with, or have been dealing with, really nasty COVID outbreaks, and like they don't have to touch each other if they don't want to. And as much as we've got the COVID Kobe in the NBA, Michael Porter Jr. I'm calling him COVID Kobe, or QAnon Kobe, in the bubble. They're in a bubble, right? So like, even if Michael Porter Jr. doesn't believe in vaccines or the roundness of the earth or gravity or whatever, like he's probably not going to catch COVID unless he tries to sneak someone and pretend to be Shaq. That's 3 strippers to be Shaq, or Yao Ming.
Or Manute, just have 3.
Right. Bulbul.
This is just Bulbul.
This is just Bulbul. I'm worried that, we got some real good old boys in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb McGarry, wasn't that the one?
Caleb McGarry.
He changed his ways though, real quick. He was wrong.
The PR department got a hold of that man's Twitter feed. It's like they took his phone. They took his phone away. They're like, give me that rook. I just think that like there's got to be enough, because for every scion of the city of Atlanta that grew up and went to Grady High School and ended up in the NFL, there's at least 5 guys from like bumfuck Texas where like they haven't had running water. Like he still uses a pump on like the well out back or whatever, and he trains by dragging steers behind him. Mm-hmm. And those guys don't believe in masks, or women's rights.
Hey, look, Vince Wilfork wore a mask. I saw him.
I'm just, I don't want to say anything about the Caucasianness of these people, but I have a feeling that the NFL is, Aubrey Huff is out of Major League Baseball, so that's like all of their crazy, right? The NBA, it's like Michael Porter Jr. is just like, man, I don't believe in diseases, but like you're in a bubble, so it doesn't fucking matter. Everybody in MLS is pretty much, international player at this point. So like the NFL is the one American sport where our Trumpiness as a country, I think, is going to bite us in the ass. And there's going to be just that one fucking dude who like goes to his aunt's house in Texas. And then next thing you know, we get 5 games of football. And then
it's going to be like Nick Bosa.
I didn't want to say it, but
I just went there.
You're not
biggest
wrong.
Trumper. The biggest Trumper.
Well, I think the biggest problem too, and I think this is why college football. Actually, let me get to this point first. I think the superstars And the guys later in their contracts they're going to be no problem because they're going to be on a mission. They're going to be on a mission to win the Super Bowl because they know they only have a limited amount of chances, and you have to keep clean in order for this season to happen. But the problem is the secondary and tertiary level of players. That's going to be the ones that have to really commit. And I think this is why college football is just not going to happen, because there's only so many players in college football that look at themselves and say, okay, I have a realistic chance of playing in the NFL one day. So I have to be able to play this season in order to get my name out there. And then there's also those players that are out there saying, look, I have that chance. I just haven't gotten the spotlight yet. And this season will be my chance to do that. So, if we cancel this season of the NCAA because players, aren't taking it seriously, you wouldn't have like your Joe Burrows. Joe Burrow was a guy who's like, oh yeah, he had a decent end of the last season at LSU. And he'll probably be pretty good for LSU, but let's see what he does. And then he comes out and breaks every offensive record in the books. So I think getting your superstars to commit at the NFL is going to be a lot easier. And these guys are actually paid as well, so they have that commitment. But the NCAA, you're not going to like the MAC, the
SWAC.
All those conferences, it's not going to work because these guys aren't. Yeah, they're not going to go out and say, you know what, I am a football player and this is my career. Some of them may. Some of them really love the sport, but I think like the ACC, the SEC, I mean the Big Ten, but they have like those smaller schools. It's going to be the problems playing those smaller schools, and that's why you got to get rid of those out of conference games.
Well, the Big already canceled their season.
Yeah, well they backpedaled a little bit.
Right,
I just don't understand the whole spring thing. What the hell is the point of coming back February 22nd, 7th, and trying to start?
Because this sport is a business,
right?
Mm-hmm. And also, Americans are saying, we'll have it figured out by then. Remember how we viewed this in March? We're like, oh, like August, September, we'll be good to go. And now we're like, well, like February, we'll be good.
My boy,
way worse.
My boy Dwayne Johnson just needs to come in and use the XFL, as a feeder system for all these college kids. Like, you don't go to the NCAA, just come to the XFL. We can bubble. We can get you ready.
You probably could, though.
That's not a bad idea, Marco. You might want to slide that business idea over that way.
Yeah, slide into his DMs, Marco, but not in a creepy way.
No, I'll be creepy.
I hear he likes that. I have a real problem with the NCAA right now. So like the Pac 16, I don't know how many teams do they have now?
12.
Technically the six. There's like
it's like 14, I believe.
The Big 12 now is like 16 or something.
Yeah. Anyway, the Western United States Conference, the Pacific Athletic Conference, the PAC, after dark. They already canceled the season because they've got like 2 schools that make a bunch of money off of sports, but like the rest of their schools are, mostly either state, like taxpayer funded, right? Like state schools, right? Or they've got a huge ass fucking tuition, right? So like USC and Stanford are fine. They have a football team, but it's really just whatever. The Big 12 is, perfect. Like Trump, I don't wear a mask. You can't tell me what to do. Also, stand your ground. I shoot first territory. So like, I'm not surprised, was it Gundy's over there? So
do you think it's a coincidence that the two Big 5 conferences that canceled first are the ones that were closest to the kids coming to agreements of getting paid?
No, I don't think that's a coincidence. And I think that's sort of like as this pandemic gets worse, all of the power conferences are going to have to either cancel their season or admit that they're holding the season because it's a business and they need money. And if it's a business and it's there because they've been able to say legally that it's for the kids, right? Up until this point, like not that any of us actually fucking believe them, but they're like, the kids love playing the football. But if it's like literally endangering their life and they're making these kids come because they're losing money, they're gonna have to admit that it's a business. If they admit it's a business, they're gonna have to pay the kids. So the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 right now are just praying that somehow this all goes away. But there's no way they play unless
Save me, science. Save me, Tom Cruise.
help me, Tom Cruise, with your witchcraft. You know, if Donald Trump talks to God, because, you know, he does that all the time. I love God. He holds up his Bible and he cures COVID, right? Like, everybody's going to be fine. Other than that, they're going to have to pay the kids, and they're not going to fucking do that. So we're not going to have college football. And thank God, you know?
No,
Again,
hurts my heart.
No, man. Oh,
I mean, I don't want them. I don't want them to get sick. It just sucks that we're at a place to where
these motherfuckers, the tuition, that's not enough for me to go out and get the Rona.
No, I'm not. I'm saying remove Rona from the whole
right.
thing. It just sucks that
we're true. Yeah.
And if we can't have Georgia Tech in Georgia during the season, we don't need a season at all.
I agree. Thank you, friend. I was really looking forward to the evolution of Georgia State football under head coach Sean Elliott in his third season.
Right. They aren't officially canceled, though. Kennesaw State is, but Georgia State is not.
I don't know if the Sun Belt canceled yet or not.
Have they
don't have any
said
fans
what's going to
either,
happen to the players, like eligibility? Are they going to grant them another year, or is this just a lost year?
I don't think they've come to a definitive, because not everybody is shut down the season, so they haven't come to kind of an definitive decision across the board.
You're going to have to grant these kids in these conferences that canceled seasons another year. It's not fair to them. But
never say have to.
Yeah, you should grant these kids another year of eligibility, because they didn't have any. Like Justin Fields, I mean, he's going to be fine because he's going to get drafted either way. But you know, those defensive linemen and those linebackers that not make the league.
I mean, technically Fields and what's his name at Clemson, they both have another year of eligibility anyway. But
right,
yeah, those seniors, like I think like Micah Parsons at Penn State, he was going to be a senior, so he just decided, I'm just going to start lifting and getting ready for the draft, because you know, it's no point in coming back for another year.
Trevor has nothing to worry about because apparently the Falcons are going to back the truck up.
Please make this happen. It's either Lawrence or Watson. That's our future. That's our future direction there. And if you don't do it, Dimitrov, if you're still here.
What about what's his name?
Forever.
Trey
Young.
No, the
starting
guy
quarterback for your Atlanta
Boston.
Falcons.
The guy where?
He's up in like Wyoming. He 42 touchdowns and 0 interceptions last year.
He's hella athletic too.
McSorley? What's his name?
No, he's
What are you talking about?
I'll look him up here in a second.
Listen, I could probably throw for 25 touchdowns in Wyoming. And I'm just,
I know, right? That's so. It's so like what's it? I was looking at like because John Cena, right? Like I was trying to figure out
who.
John Cena, the wrestler, guys.
I've never seen him.
You can't see me. You can't see me. And the salute. Like I was just trying to see, like, because you know most wrestlers are just failed athletes.
What was that? Oh, don't worry about that, Marco. That was just a joke going right over your head.
No. Most wrestlers are failed athletes, right? So I was trying to look to see did he always just want to be a wrestler? And apparently he was like a D3 lineman. And I'm like, wait. Is that even really an accomplishment? He was an All-American, though, and all that. But is that really an accomplishment?
Yeah, that's an accomplishment. College athletics is still college athletics.
Marco, are you a D3 lineman?
Right.
I'm just saying, like, what kind of was he blocking, like 5'5" linebackers? Like, what kind of?
No, there's some big boys down there, man.
Are you blocking 5'5" linebackers, Marco?
No, Lionel.
I got to stop giving Marco a hard time. I got to pick a new target. Micah, you're it for the rest of the episode. I'm coming for you. Speaking of wrestling, Jackson. Oh man. So, I got this WWE Network subscription. Jackson's like, daddy. Oh, that's what it was. We were watching NBA on TNT, which is still the best NBA broadcast. And they had ads for All Elite Wrestling.
Cody Rhodes' pet project.
Yeah, but Jackson was like, Daddy, can we watch wrestling? I was like, yes.
Can we smell what The Rock is cooking?
Listen, okay, Thomas Dimitrov, I know you listen to this podcast. Don't tell me you don't. I see the metrics, okay? And Arthur Blank. If you don't get me Trevor Lawrence or who's the other one? Deshaun.
Yeah.
Right? To be our next quarterback. I will just be a Ravens fan. I want a young, dynamic, mobile quarterback. I am sick of standing in the pocket noodle arm quarterbacks. I'm sick of it. The NFL is done. I'm sick of watching the Chiefs and seeing Pat Mahomes out there and being like, oh, I got Dirk Cutter as my offensive coordinator. I'm sick of it. Give me something fun to watch, man. Matt Ryan's done a lot for us, but if he doesn't win a chip this year, I need something new. And if you don't want to lose me to the Ravens bandwagon again, you'll give me what I want.
So on the shoulders of Lionel's ultimatum here, I will say that after watching, and I do this every year, guys, I know I do. But this year, I feel if we have a full season, if we have 16 games, or we have at least, 10? You think they could cut it off at 10, take a break, and then come back for the playoffs? You think that would work?
Only if they played in a bubble.
Right. I mean, that would give them technically 7 weeks to figure it out.
It just depends on who's in there. If all their stars are in, they'll be cool.
Yeah, they'd do it.
If they make it that far, I don't think the owners would, because that's too much money lost.
Right. That's a shitload of money.
Yeah, but they're gonna be losing money anyway.
They're so
Who, the owners?
They're not gonna be fans. They're gonna lose a ton of money.
The owners in the NFL haven't talked about shutting down the stadiums. They're still
That's
talking
what I'm saying.
about,
Where'd you hear there was not going to be fans yet?
Yeah, like
Jerry's gonna fill it up, dude.
yeah,
Jerry World's gonna be full.
How many can we fit?
like Falcons talking about like something like 10 to 20,000 fans or something, but all season ticket holders.
I don't know about that because A&B just announced that they won't have any fans in the Benz for MLS games until at least September.
Really? What's up with this? Y'all saw that picture up in Wuhan, China, where like all those people are like having a pool party? Did y'all see?
Yeah, they've got like 50,000 tourists went to Wuhan this week. They're like taking pictures. They're just like, this is where everybody started dying. You know, it's like people going and having like a block party at Auschwitz. Like, what the fuck?
Right. It's like, wait, they're like, damn, if you could have just worn your mask, y'all could be at the pool parties.
Bro, I'm over here like, I was just reading an article. They were talking about Jamaica, and Jamaica's like, they just opened the borders to Americans again. And they're like, why'd you open the borders to Americans, Jamaica? And Jamaica's like, well, because Europeans don't come here, and our economy was going to crater. So we have to risk everyone's lives because Americans can't get their shit together. I was just like, yeah. But wait, you said Sandals is open? Homie's trying to go to a beach. Sorry, Ryan.
Oh, you're good. I had to tell Cruz I could not install 4 video games for him on his iPad right now.
Okay, so Ryan, you were saying that you were looking at the film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
and
I'm excited. I was talking a little bit to Micah about this, and I feel like our defense is really going to step up this year. We have a couple of players that are going to, take that second and third year. Is it Foyer's third year, correct?
Third.
Yeah. I think he's going to make a huge jump on defense. I think the guy that we drafted at corner, AJ Terrell, I think he's going to be way better than Trufant ever was. The guy has that tenacity. He has that look and that attitude that real shutdown corners have. He doesn't care about who's in front of him. He cares about shutting them down and stopping them. And plus, he plays
run Alford defense with coverage skills.
Yeah, exactly. And he's 2 to 3 inches taller than Alford ever was. And he's just as fast as Alford. And he's stronger than Alford. So he's got all the makings. And from what we've seen so far just on tape and what we've heard from the coaches is, one, did y'all see that pick that he went up over Ridley on? Made Ridley look like he wasn't even on the field. Skied over him, snagged it, and it was like, oh, who's that athlete? Oh, that's AJ. Okay.
But Falcons fans said they didn't like the pick.
A lot of them did, yeah. But as you heard from last week from the guy who probably knows more football than all of us combined and then some, Brett said that's a hell of a pick.
Coleman really liked it.
Yeah.
So I think, speaking of Brett, I think he was inspired by us semi shitting on Andrew or what's his name?
Drew Lock. Yeah, I was like, is that coincidence, or did he have that one in the chamber?
Listen, Brett, you can put us in the acknowledgments of your YouTube videos. It's cool, man.
Right.
We sent you a hot sauce, Brett.
The next will be Cam Newton can throw intermediate passes.
You know what?
He did that one already.
Yeah,
though.
he's already.
Oh, he did.
If Brett wants to make, hour-long videos refuting all of my claims that I have based on zero evidence, he can come back on the show whenever he wants, because I promise that man will stay busy. Because I just shoot from the hip with that shit.
You know what? This
So
sounds
Ryan, you do say this every year.
good.
So I want to rain on your parade just a little bit.
Bring evidence, bring stats, bring facts.
No, I want to. The Falcons have put out on paper, talented roster for most of the last 5 years, right? Like on paper, they've looked really good. 2017, was that the year after we didn't win the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Boston,
16, 17.
the roster was pretty stacked from what I remember.
we still made it deep into the playoffs.
I feel the worst year we had was basically the year we went to the Super Bowl.
Right. So, but here's the question I have for you: is this Falcons team more talented than the 2016 team? Is this
Where?
Falcons anywhere?
Everywhere? I would
Overall, is this a more talented team?
Yes.
Where are they not? The line? The offensive line?
The offensive line is the only place that I would have questions about.
Okay. Which is more important, talent or coaching?
Coaching.
Coaching.
Well, it's equal. It's not equal parts of both. It's.
Would you say that we are? Would you say that we have enough of an increase in talent to make up for the obvious decrease in coaching ability since Shanahan left?
So just Dirk Cutter? Yes, kind of. Close enough to where Matt Ryan, they've got to, and how do I want to say this? Dirk Cutter is going to, Dirk Cutter it up sometimes. I'm hoping that those dives and those power plays with Todd Gurley, the talent of Todd Gurley takes over, and that makes up for some of those, like, hey, it's 1st and 10. I'm going to run it right up the gut on you with, an 11 set out here. Hope you don't see it coming.
Well, and Dirk's best year with us was 2012 when we went to the NFC Championship, and Roddy White got held down in the goal line, and we lost to Colin Kaepernick. When we were yelling "no means no" at Michael Crabtree. I'm not proud of it. Damn, that was 8 years ago. That offense was very good. But that defense was ass. It was a Mike Nolan defense. Well, we had Thomas DeCoux and Asante Samuel. Willie Moore. He's always ready though. Weatherspoon. I don't remember who our edge rushers were. I don't know. Lofton had gone to
Abraham. That was Abraham's last year.
Abraham and Edwards, wasn't it?
I think so.
Either that or Croy.
Yeah, probably Croy.
Lofton had gone to New Orleans by then, I think. But we were shit in the defense. So it's possible that we can out talent Dirk Cutter by being hella talented on the defense, right? My only problem is that we don't have play calling that we can trust,
Well, remember, Matt Ryan always makes a significant jump in the second year of whatever offensive coordinator he's ever had.
This is true. Okay.
So
we'll just have to come back and check.
Yeah, and I think Raheem Morris, not Marquand Manuel, as I like to call him earlier, with Micah. I think Raheem Morris really did a great job in what he did down the final 6 games. Was it 8 or 6?
8.
Yeah. So the final 8 games on the stretch where we went 6-2, the biggest improvement was our secondary. They didn't look lost. They were aggressive. They played simple coverage, and they played to a level where helped our defensive line get there, because in the first 8 games of the season, we had 5 sacks. Down the final 8 games of the stretch, we had 23. So, I mean, it was a complete 180 from what we did in the first half of that season. And I think that was directly because Dan Quinn had, like Brett told us, he had too much on his plate. He was trying to put, square pegs in round holes. And Raheem Morris said, you know what? No, this is what we're going to do. And this is actually a direct quote from Oliver, where he said, we dropped all the overarching scheme of the secondary. And, here's how you play this coverage. Here's how you do this. And he said, you know what? You're going to play the way that you play coverage best. And it made things simple for them. And so, you know what? If you play better this way, do it and we'll adjust to it. So, maybe not so much outside leverage on something where he's like, I play better inside leverage, coach. And he just let him do that.
You think that's how Bill Belichick calls the defense?
I think Belichick is the best coach at saying, you know what? You do this and we're going to fit you in here somehow.
Well, I mean, like if you look at Stephon Gilmore played wherever he want. He'd play inside the hash sometimes. He'd move outside. He just played wherever, and they trusted that he was going to do what he was going to do, and it was like he was going to make plays regardless. So,
who would y'all think about Rico saying that he wants to be utilized more like
we know Mike is not going to like that.
Because he's like he naturally he's actually a cornerback, and he wants to play more nickel, and he wants to be moved around the field a lot more, which I like because he is our best communicator. And if you can get him on all levels communicating, it can only help the defense.
If you look at the time where we got hurt, it was one game where we lost like 2 defensive backs. Was that the Saints, Micah, where Rico had to come down and play in the nickel in coverage?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you looked at what happened when we had him down there versus having him at safety and having, I think it was Bleedy down there, the defense got so much better because he was in that slot and he's fit for that. He's a strong corner. He played corner, I think it was Andy or Purdue, wherever he went. Mm-hmm. And he and KZ kind of have that similar skill set, except Rico's a little bit bigger. He's obviously a lot smarter in the game right now because he's got many years on KZ. But shifting him down to the nickel and putting KZ back in center field and allowing him to roam, I think that fits both of their skill sets much better than it does to try and put KZ and just try and get KZ on the field to have him on the field.
Right.
Whereas you have Rico, who can play down there, blitzes well, tackles well, reads the offense as well in the nickel. So we'll see. I'm
going to go ahead and be the pessimist here, and I'm going to be the pessimist for a very specific reason. I hate that I'm going to bring them up again, but the Patriots consistently have an incredible defense, right? Year after year, they have a great defense, and they do it without super high draft picks because they're constantly late in the playoffs, so they can't, right? And they do it with cast-offs from other teams, people who don't fit, people who don't play well. They bring these guys in. But I think that you're right to an extent, Ryan, where you said that Bill Belichick is good at being like, this is how you play, we're going to fit you in. But they do it because they sign and draft people that play their style. Mm-hmm. The Falcons are at a problem where they are so deficient in the play calling and scheme department that they have to draft for talent. You can't trade out of the first round. The Falcons could not trade out of the first round and still have a good draft class. It just wouldn't happen. All of our good draft picks come before 12.
That's not true. Not in the last couple of years. We've drafted extremely well. Actually, there was a grading that I saw not too long ago on it was GMs and the percentage of picks that they had in rounds 3 and beyond that have become starters or long-term quality players. And Dimitroff was like 2 on the list. He's one of the best late-round drafters there is.
Starters and quality players for a team, not quality compared to the rest of the NFL. So, like, when what's his name? He had 1 billion sacks in that one game.
Oh, Adrian Claiborne?
Yeah, when he went to the Pats, he was a monster for us, right? And he left and went to the Pats, and we were like, oh, damn it, Claiborne's leaving. He went to the Pats, and what did he do?
I mean, he was like
2.5 sacks.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good season for what he played.
But that's sort of what I'm saying is that he wasn't like an every down starter on a team that has a good defense.
What year was Claiborne there the year that they won, or did they lost to Philly?
He went when they lost.
They
Yeah,
lost to Philly.
that was actually one of New England's worst defenses that they've ever had.
Yeah,
and he still wasn't an every down player.
Well, their problem.
They also had Chandler Jones, who they let walk.
Yeah,
right. But it's like, okay, it's that same thing where you've got Devin Booker. He's playing for the Suns, right? Devin Booker looks really fucking good because he's playing for the Suns, right? And you put him on the Lakers. Is he still going to be the same Devin Booker? Because now he's surrounded by a bunch of other guys. Is he going to make it off the bench? You've got a team like New England that has a defensive philosophy and a defensive play calling set that works. And so they can go out and get a guy that doesn't work in any other system, and they can bring him in, and all of a sudden he's an all-pro because
Kyle Van Noy.
They look for players that fit their scheme instead of drafting a player who's tall and fast and hits good and likes playing football because he's got a love for the game. And then all of a sudden you can't run your scheme because your corners can't play your scheme.
I don't think we're the Raiders or the Cowboys. I don't think that's what we do. I think we've been very scheme specific, but we just missed on some guys, or some guys just didn't pan out. But
like Duke Riley.
Yeah. I mean, I think we don't draft we have a very specific set of players, and this is DQ influenced. I think you could make an argument better that the cover 3 over scheme that he runs and came in Seattle, the leagues have figured out more so than we've just missed on the players, like 4-3 over scheme with the cover 3 shell. Teams figure that out. It's right up the seam for 10 to 15 yards, and they just hit that all day. And that's what Drew Brees has done to us.
Check down the running backs.
Right. It's like what exactly.
I also don't necessarily think we can say that all the players that we've necessarily drafted have just been, skilled out this world. I think we were definitely trying to draft for a need and not just like get the best guy at that position. Because I mean, constantly they'd take people and everybody in Atlanta is like, what the fuck? So it's like,
but we've never been in that range either, where we can just get those players who are game breakers no matter what scheme.
Right.
We haven't gotten the Chase Youngs. We haven't been there to get that. We've been in the 15 to 25 range pretty consistently.
Where did we take Calvin Ridley?
18.
Yeah.
Where did we take Keanu Neal?
20. That was we 20? Traded up, I think. Or we 15, I believe.
So what was our last number 6 pick? Because we picked 6th recently.
Julio
at 6.
Yeah, I think that was it. So since we got Julio,
were
linemen. The last ones were linemen.
But Jake, when did we get Jake Matthews? Was that?
He was late. He was a late first rounder.
Yeah, I think
later first round. Yeah. All I'm gonna say is, I don't see the same sort of. All right, Bruce Irvin, right, in Seattle, when they drafted Bruce Irvin in the first round, I spit my drink out and laughed. I was like, this guy's got like a fourth round grade. Like, no way. Bruce Irvin was huge for Seattle, right? Like, he was a super high impact player. And we drafted that DQ's first draft class, right? We took Kiki Neal, who ended up being hugely important, right? We took Dion, who, is one of the best cover linebackers in the game at this point. But I don't think that I've seen that same sort of, like, it's the first round. Yeah, we need a cornerback. This guy's a good cornerback, but instead we're going to take the one that fits our scheme and that we know is coachable. Is that we're going to take a good cornerback. It's sort of like with signing like Gurley, right, who could be really, really good. But we did the same thing. We signed Steven Jackson, right? We were just like, instead of signing a running back that fits our zone running scheme, we're going to sign a running back. And his name is Steven Jackson. He's the Predator.
That was the Mike Smith era, man. That's a hard one.
Same offensive coordinator, though.
Yeah, but Steven Jackson was definitely over the hill when we got him.
Jackson Todd was like, Gurley 31, 32 when we got him.
We don't
But
know.
Todd Gurley's one cut away from his knee exploding and peeing in Alex Smith. I don't trust this coaching staff. I think the fact that we made it to the Super Bowl and got within, one field goal of beating Thomas Brady is due to not due to a well-run team, a well-run front office, a well-run defense, but due to the fact that we had one of the best offensive coaches in the game and maybe ever in the game. And so the opposing teams were so busy freaking out about trying to get Kyle Shanahan off the field that they didn't have a time. I mean, look what happened when our defense got tired in that Super Bowl against.
But what about the next year when we were literally like a single play away from probably getting back to the Super Bowl? I mean, we were a single play away from beating the eventual champions without.
We're one Julio slip away from beating the Eagles.
So one Julio slip away from beating the Eagles versus having a 25-point lead over the Patriots.
I'm just saying that it doesn't necessarily take the best offensive coach in the league to be able to win on a high level.
What was the score against
teams?
What was the score against Green Bay?
When
we went to the Super Bowl?
It was like 36 to.
Yeah, we put up a lot, and then we put up a lot.
Okay. What was the score against Philly that next year after we went to the Super Bowl?
Like 14 to 16.
Oh, okay, okay, Marco. It's nothing about the offensive coordinator and the coaching staff.
Two totally different levels.
I'm just saying that it doesn't. I feel like your point is almost like we were only able to succeed because of Shanahan, but that's not the case. I think that even in a situation where all odds were against us, our talent still managed to be in that game. And
how far into the playoffs have we gotten since Kyle Shanahan left? What's the farthest that we've gotten?
Division round.
Yeah, divisional round.
Okay. How many years did Kyle Shanahan have to coach this team before they went to the Super Bowl?
Two.
It's
two.
He had 1 year where we didn't do very good.
First year was
the
debacle year.
Yeah.
And then the next year we went to the Super Bowl, right?
I thought you meant like how many years behind him. Yeah, gotcha.
What's our win record with Kyle Shanahan?
We went like 10-6 that year, right? That we went to the Super Bowl.
11-5.
11-5, and then the year before. So
okay, what's the win record since Kyle Shanahan left?
Right at 500.
7-9.
What was it? 10-6, 8-8.
So we're only
7-9.
We're even.
How many points did we score in the year that Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator?
You mean the fifth best offense of all time?
Okay. How many interceptions did Matt Ryan have when Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator?
5 to 7.
How many MVPs did we have on the team? How many MVPs did we have on the team when Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator?
2.
That year, 1.
I mean, like 1.
How many MVPs have we had since then?
But still, though, like
how many points did we score?
7 interceptions under Sarkisian.
So how about this, Lionel?
How many? But he had less touchdowns.
Matt Ryan matched that actually outperformed that year without Kyle Shanahan.
Under Sark.
Under Sark, because it was his second year under Sark.
But did we win?
That's because the other parts you can't compare the Matt Ryan part to it.
But you said that we had
all the injuries.
Defense.
Yeah, we were riddled with injuries.
How many points did we win the NFC Championship game?
Do you know one of the biggest reasons why we went to the Super Bowl that year?
Kyle?
Because we got hot down the stretch. Yes, Kyle Shanahan helped.
That defense
hot down the
was
stretch.
nasty.
And because we were one of the healthiest teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
We didn't get hurt until going into the Super Bowl.
What was our time of possession and percentage of possession while Kyle Shanahan was our offensive coordinator?
Not that great in the Super Bowl because they
not
had
in the
96
Super Bowl
snaps.
in the season.
I don't know. Do you have these stats in front of you? I can't remember that.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because from what I remember, we ran the ball extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
We always won the time of possession, and the opposing team was always playing catch up.
And we were healthy. Like we had Tev and Dev. It's like there were so many things. Like,
but we didn't have Calvin Ridley.
I'd rather have
a
healthy Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman and a healthy.
Who do we have on at tight end?
Hooper. And
Lolo.
Oh,
and what's his name?
He played for Peyton Manning.
The no skills
Jacob Tammy.
Tammy, right? Who do we have at right tackle?
That was
Where's Chester at?
No,
Chester
that was Ryan
right
Schrader.
Oh,
Yeah, Schrader
Yeah.
was there.
We had Schrader at right tackle, right?
It was Schrader,
Schrader, Chester,
Mack,
Levitre,
Levitre,
and
a damned seasoned offensive line.
That
We had
was
Ryan
healthy
Schrader
all
as our
year.
right tackle, man.
Ryan Schrader
Did
was
Ryan
good
Sch-
for there was like 2 seasons where Ryan Schrader was like a top 5 tackle, then he just fell off.
Yeah,
the
the 2
face of the
seasons with Kyle Shanahan as the
planet. No,
offensive
it was like
coordinator.
the one before that. It was like, hold on, let me look this up because he was better. He was good before he got there.
We're going to be under 500 this year with the most talented Falcons team in the last 10 years. And y'all are going to try to tell me that we didn't go to the Super Bowl because Kyle Shanahan took Jimmy GQ to the Super Bowl this
It's
last
a
year.
really good team.
well, that defense,
Was it a
and that
really
running game.
good team?
that
The defense is really
defense
good.
was nasty.
The defense
The
is really
defense
good.
was
They have really good young
very
wide
good.
receivers. They have the second best tight end in the league. They had like 3 running backs you could just run out there and get 1,000 yards on the season.
Matter of fact, their running game was so good. He caught 8 passes in the NFC Championship game. 8 pass plays.
They won despite Jimmy Garoppolo.
Listen, Bill Belichick consistently has a top 5 offense in New England. Defense, sorry. Top 5 defense in New England.
Except for the year against the Eagles.
Except for the year against the Eagles.
They were like
They still were top 5 scoring. They didn't give
Okay.
up a lot of points, gave up a lot of yards.
Okay.
So, but we know that Bill Belichick finds people in like the closet around Gillette Stadium and brings them out, and they turn into an all-pro linebacker. Like we figured that out, right? Because Bill Belichick has done this enough times for a single team. He trades out of the first round. He's like, I have 4 third-round picks, and all of them are Hall of Famers because this is just what Bill Belichick does, right? Like he signs like my uncle, from like the retirement home, and all of a sudden he's like the best cover safety in the history of the NFL because we know that he's that good of a coach. What was the Niners record like before Kyle Shanahan took over?
They were like 2-14. He came there and got the
His
number 1
first season wasn't that good either.
They were terrible.
Yeah, he came there, received the number 1 pick, got the best of
Oh,
like one of the best
yeah, he was
defensive linemen
there.
ever.
It was Cap's last year. So they were 4-12. He came and took over. They were terrible for 2 seasons. And
People were like, this guy's a bust as a head coach.
Was it 2 seasons or 1 season?
It's
2.
only been
It was 2 because 17 they were bad, 18 they were bad, and then
I
last
forgot. Yeah, I
they
forgot.
were really good.
But I think in it, just to comment on that, I don't necessarily. I think Dan Quinn suffered with delegation. I think what happens with the Patriots is that they buy in. So like the coaching staff is what it is, and they do what they do, so they buy in. With Dan Quinn, it was like it's almost like he shifts, like the goalpost moves every year. So yeah, I mean, I sort of get what you're getting at, that it's like the coaching staff. But I think we're at a point now with either axing Dan Quinn or the fact that he has sort of figured out where he needs to be successful and what he's delegated the responsibilities out. So like you said, if we go through this season again and it is just a catastrophic fail, then yeah, but I think we'll perform better simply off the sample size of the second half of the season and the fact that for the first time, Dan Quinn's actually delegating to people who are good at what they do.
Well, here's another thing. We went to the Super Bowl. We lost the Super Bowl. Then you shifted your whole coaching staff around. So Raheem Morris, who's been a defensive coach his entire career, you moved him to be a receivers coach. So, which is the position that probably needed the least coaching because you just have studs.
You take
Marco-
one of your best coaches.
Marco trusts the head coach that made Raheem Morris a wide receivers coach,
But
to finally figure it out.
Raheem
That
actually
was his
volunteered.
idea.
No, Raheem volunteered to move over.
Well,
Yeah.
Dan Quinn approved it. He wasn't just like, Raheem, no, you're a secondary guy.
The
What the
receivers
fuck?
actually commented. Julio actually came on and said, you know what? Getting the perspective from a defensive back coach who's seeing it from the other side of the ball has taught me a lot and made me a much better wide receiver. So
Who was the offensive coordinator when Julio Jones got Bené Benwickery fired?
was it Shanahan?
Shanahan.
It was Shanahan. Okay, just
I mean,
checking.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
but
wait.
Julio
wait,
also
was
had a
it?
300-yard game. before Shanahan.
300-yard game.
No. I think that was Sark.
When he had that 300-yard game, it was Sark.
I
It was
I
Sark.
think that was Sark because I think it was the year after the Super Bowl
Ryan, edit that out in post, okay? I don't want to sound stupid. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we got a guest. We're going to talk about the association. And I'm going to continue to find reasons why everyone else here is wrong about Kyle Shanahan. So see you in a sec.
Everyone's against me, but they're all wrong.
Tres, dos, uno. Hey, welcome back from the break. This is Fishing Grits, the podcast, episode 15. We are joined by a very special guest to talk through our next segment. He's the third funniest person on Ryan's Xbox Live friends list after me and Robo. He's Marlon Rogers. Marlon, what's up, bud?
What up? Third funniest after Robo? That's crazy.
Man.
Yeah, that's a stretch. But what's up? I'm happy to join you guys.
See, I'm still salty because Marlon talked like really mad shit to me once, like 5-6 years ago or something like that, and like I took it super personally. So just
You've been demoted.
What game were you playing?
I think it was Madden. It was probably when I was President Trump, playing with my Jags. Blake Bortles. Marlon's Marlon's he's a funny guy. He's also super smart, and I just wish they liked the Falcons so that he would stop saying mean things about my team.
Well, actually, when I moved here, I was committed to being a Falcons fan, especially when y'all made it to the Super Bowl. Because I was ready to celebrate. You know, I'm a Detroit Lions fan, by the way, guys. You see the Detroit hat. So I was excited. I'm in the town. We about to win the Super Bowl. I'm excited to party, like just the experiences. You know, Detroit, we've never experienced such things. So y'all really broke my heart. Like I feel like this is my only opportunity to experience the joy of a Super Bowl.
Flip your shirt inside out, no one would have known. It's like, on that night, he was like, "Yeah, I was never a Falcons fan."
What are you talking about?
Yeah, like
welcome to like my whole life, Marlon. My whole life. I grew up in Chicago, so I was a Bears and a Cubs fan before I moved.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the Bulls won a lot. That was cool.
Okay,
that was great. But I was like 10 with the last time they won a championship.
Mm-hmm.
So like my whole like teenage and adult life, it's just been misery. So I hope Ryan's right. I hope our defense is good this year. That's enough NFL talk. They're not going to play a season anyway, man. Tom Brady's going to be the only one who's healthy. He's going to be Brady and then a bunch of like scabs. Maybe the scab year, but just Brady, and he's still not going to win the championship.
Out there drinking his special sauce, like
his special Guerrero sauce. Yeah, he looks really tan right now. All right, so let's talk about the other sport, arguably the better sport that everybody's talking about here in the United States of America, and that's basketball, pro basketball, shooty hoops, if you will. Marco, you like basketball. Tell us about some basketball, man. What's been going on? I hear they've been playing games. Oh, first off, still the funniest thing in the whole world is that when teams get eliminated from the NBA bubble, they just kicked right out from the game. Like they don't go back to their hotel room. They don't do anything. They get on a bus and they leave immediately. That's the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Are you serious?
Yes, the NBA is so ruthless. There's like, good, you're eliminated. Get the fuck out.
That's crazy.
The bubbles for winners.
That's crazy. That's funny.
All right, Marco, hit me with the NBA. What's been going on, man? It's been 2 weeks. We had a lot of news.
It's funny when you said that. I just got like in my head. I imagine Ja just getting like cartoon rocketed out of the bubble, like just let that shit. All right. Okay, so what's been going on in the NBA? It is playoff time. All right, so I'm gonna sort of go off this rundown right here. So the first thing we got, the first topic of discussion, we got 4 players under the age of 25 who have scored over 30 points in their first playoff game. Let me see. There was Luka. There was
Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
Jason Tatum. And I don't remember the fourth. Yeah, the fourth.
Who would it have been?
Was it Ja?
No, Ja didn't.
No, he didn't make the playoffs.
Oh, they didn't make it. They lost in the play-in game, right?
Yeah.
No one on the Jazz. No one.
You just wanted to rub it in twice. That's crazy.
What are you, a Ja fan?
I do like Ja. I'm not like crazy big on him, but I think he's gonna be better than Zion though, because Zion not gonna stay healthy.
Yeah, Zion, man, it's tough watching him walk and lumber down the court. So let's just what are y'all's
Especially because
opinions?
he's in New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's good. That's gonna be a big dude. He's gonna wait. I could get gumbo 24 hours a day.
Right, that man needs to go. If anyone needs to go vegan,
Beignet?
it's Zion. Like Zion needs to cut out all meat from his
That
diet.
man's gonna be at Cafe Du Monde at like 1:30
Man,
after a game, just like with a plate full of those beignets, my dude.
raspberry drizzle.
So what do
Oh,
y'all
man.
think about like? Do y'all think the NBA is in good hands with all these young players, namely Luka? Like, because I can't think of the other one of the four, but Tatum was definitely putting on. He was splashing dudes up. What do y'all think of Luka and
Jamal Murray was the other one.
Okay, Jamal.
Oh yeah,
How good
Jamal
he at?
Murray. He all right.
Yeah, he all right.
I think it's a mixed bag, man. I think you've got some kids that look like they're like the real deal. Like, Luka, I don't know if we can count him as a kid, right? Because he played professionally in Europe, so it's sort of like it's that JUCO transfer, right? But Donovan Mitchell looks really good. Even
And
though
that
Ja's
was
not,
out with Mike Conley being like, "Oh, my baby's more important than basketball."
yeah, my life.
How dare people decommit from things for children? Andy Bunker, we're looking at you.
hey, this is a bunker slander free zone. I think it's gonna be real hit or miss. I think, sort of like what Marlon was saying, we were coming off the break, like the bubble makes everything weird, right? Like TJ Warren looks like the second coming,
Right. It's a shooter's gym, apparently. That's what they're all saying.
Yeah. So like you don't have to, actually be good to be good, right? In the bubble. It's weird. The bubble's weird, which is why I think the playoffs should be in the bubble every year. I think this just sounds like a really good idea. But I think you've got some real, like some kids that look like you're not going to miss on them, right? Ja looks like one of them. Doncic looks like another one who's like a can't miss, right? But Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, I think those guys all look really, really good. But I'm not sure, look at what Lonzo Ball did in the bubble, right? Zoe averaged like 7 points over the course of the whole tournament.
He was like well under, like 50% under all of his stats on the season.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. I'm done. I'm done calling it until I see it, right?
Right.
The only thing that
I've seen it with certain players. I think definitely Luka. I think Jamal Murray has shown you that he's a starting caliber all-star point guard. Now, whether he's a superstar or not, I don't know about all that.
Right.
But he's a starter. He's an all-star. And I think Jason Tatum has shown you he's an all-star starter. Now, he hasn't. I think Luka's the only one that's in that superstar level right now. But
so that's a good question. So who I asked my friend this the other day on Boston, who is the best player right now? Is it Kemba or is it Jason Tatum?
I would put.
Do you mean best technically or like the
Who's
best
the guy? Like who's the guy?
Jason Tatum.
Tatum first, Jaylen Brown second,
Mhm.
and then Kemba.
And Kemba? What?
Nah. Jaylen Brown not ahead of Kemba.
Because Jaylen Brown is a lockdown defender.
Yeah,
there's a reason I didn't
Bucket's
mention
more
Jaylen.
important. Bucket's more important. Bucket's more important than defense. Buckets are more important than defense.
That's
You can
true.
get good defenders. You can't get like elite scorers. They don't
Did
just
you
come.
see how many?
Did y'all
points-
see Kemba take what's his face to the rim? Oh my God, he had Embiid on 2 layups. Like, oh my God, he had him stuck. It was. Yeah, I can't say Jalen's ahead of Kemba, but maybe eventually. But
Jalen's a beast, though. I love Jaylen Brown.
Marietta representing.
I think what Marlon's trying to say is you can coach defense, right? Like you'll see coaches come in. We were just talking about what's his nuts out of Alvin Gentry, right? Out of New Orleans. So we were like, bring him to Atlanta when you know that the only head coach that we're going to get is Becky. So don't say that, Ryan. We're putting it into the world. But like Alvin Gentry can coach defense, right? Like you can turn someone who has athletic ability into a plus defender, but like you can't teach a shooter, right? Lonzo Ball didn't learn how to shoot, right? Ben Simmons still can't hit the 3, but you can't coach Dame Lillard, right?
Right.
Yeah. Not even just the shooting aspect. Like if you watch Kimba, he's up there with Kyrie, Dame. Now I don't think he's quite on their level, but with the way he isos and the way he can score from every level on the court, he has their skill set.
Cardiac.
It's
Kimba.
it's not a lot of
Cardiac Kimba, man.
So
players.
good. I'm not arguing that, but what's the one point that you always make to me about championship teams? What
They-
position?
Range.
Yeah, and they need a wing scorer. You need some
Mid-range.
type of wing presence. But I would say Jason Tate. I don't feel like Jaylen Brown's a wing presence. I think if he's on the team alone, I don't think if the defense was focused on him, they would be over.
I think you missed a lot of Jaylen Brown footage this year.
I think
No.
Jaylen Brown is uber aggressive, but he doesn't necessarily have a role in the offense.
Right. But I think he doesn't have a role because look, I got Kimba and I got Jason Tatum that I need to get the ball. Even Gordon Hayward, I think, is a better offensive player than Jaylen Brown.
When he's healthy.
So Jalen averaged 26 and 2 on a 17 PER this year, and Kimba averaged
What? He averaged 26 points.
26.
Oh,
2.
you said that too close. 20.
And then Kimba averaged.
Yeah, I was waiting for that third stat. I was like 26 and 2.
26
But what about rebounds?
And then Kimba averaged 20 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists.
Yeah.
And on a 20 PER. But also Jalen gives you the defense too, man.
I mean, Jalen is 6'7".
Yeah, the defense is a plus, but you got to think the Celtics as a whole, I think they're ranked 4th in defense. So he's getting a lot of fast break opportunities, and he's getting open shots because Jason Tatum and Kimba are creating for them. He's not initiating the offense. I'm not saying he can't, but he's just.
Oh, I'm not. This is not a
can
Kimba slander. I'm just trying to say on what I would value on that team. I think that team would be. Let me not say that. That team does what it does because of Jaylen Brown's contributions, and Kimba is the icing on the top with a point guard that can score.
So speaking of Boston, we'll probably move on for Boston in a second, but I want to ask Micah. Micah, do you think that Boston is not considered a legit contender by a lot of people because they don't have a big man?
Not because they don't have a big man. Because I mean, Houston's considered a legit contender, and they got like James Harden playing the 4, and what's his name? I can never remember the dude's name. PJ Tucker playing the 5 at 6'5".
35.
So I don't think that's the reason. I think there's some questions about how good the coach is. I've seen some people that have questioned, like, can he take them? Can he get them over the hump? Or
there's also a talent gap compared to some of the other contenders, right? Like,
yeah,
Boston doesn't have that like superstar, right?
A lot of people have questions about Tatum and like, can he hit that big shot in big moments? You know, Kimba, same thing, because Kimba's never really been in that position either.
On a good team.
Yeah.
Let me drop a little Jason Tatum factoid for y'all. So last year, when all the questions came up with Tatum in isolation, he averaged like 1 point per isolation, something like that. It was like 42nd out of 42nd among players who qualify with 250 isolations.
This was last year?
This was last year.
Okay.
And then this year, he jumped up all the way to 3rd. So he became exponentially more effective in his isolations and his ability to get those buckets this year.
Yeah,
it sounds like you're blaming Kyrie.
My man Jason's.
How could you say something so controversial and yet so brave?
Jason is like,
I'm
to
not
me,
a Kyrie fan, so
right. I look at Jason and I see like a sort of like a Melo 2.0 at his best. Like he's Melo with better handles and maybe less physical
and way better defense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wouldn't call Jason Tatum a great defender or anything like that.
Yeah, but Melo wasn't a defender at all.
He tried when he was in Denver. He tried.
So Micah, I guess I'm glad that Marco started asking you a question because I also have a question for you. There's only one way to tell if any of these kids are any good, and that's to ask Micah if any of these kids would last in the 1992 National Basketball Association. Would any of these kids be good then, man?
Huh. Let me see.
Don't act like you don't have your own podcast just about this. I know you do. Actually, that's a good idea for a podcast spinoff where I just like set Micah up with questions and let him rant. Pretty good.
I mean, Jaylen Brown would have been a good player back then, but I mean that's just because he's hard nosed on both ends of the floor. I think Tatum could have been a very good offensive player. Defensively, but I mean, on Boston, yeah, those are the main two.
It's just before we move on to this next question, I want to sort of comment. It's just funny though when you watch, like, I saw Embiid do this. And it was just hilarious. He tried to like back someone down like it was the 1990s, and all they did, they just swarmed him and took the ball from him. It was like, you can't even play like that anymore.
Well,
Didn't
It's just
Cat
so
try to
funny.
do that? Isn't there a picture of Cat trying to do that? And like the guy who was guarding Cat was just like,
That was
making a
Anthony
face.
Davis.
that's who it was. Though.
Yeah.
It's just so funny how the game is. It used to be like literally like, okay, you take turns backing down, then we're gonna come down here. You take turns backing down. It was literally
And now it's a race to see who could shoot from the logo fastest.
Right,
it's
right.
positionless basketball now.
right. There is no more. But like everybody
Like
calls
pickup.
Tobias Harris a power forward, and I'm like, he doesn't do anything power forwards do. He can't set screens. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't get rebounds. He's a three. It's like, but everybody's like, oh, he's a power forward because he's tall. It's like, nah, bro. Like, you cannot have
Oh,
Tobias Harris at your four.
Ben Simmons is more of a power forward than Tobias Harris,
Definitely, yeah.
but he runs point. So
Right.
But he can't
right,
shoot the three.
Exactly. He's not a stretch four, right? He's more like,
like
a
Josh
five.
Smith with better
He's
hand.
worse. He's worse DeMar DeRozan.
All right. Wait, so
Mark,
number-
I gotta
Ben Simmons
I gotta.
lock up. Ben Simmons
Huh?
lock up. He
You said
played.
what?
He played great D. Ben
Yeah,
Simmons played
yeah,
great
he's the
defense.
best.
Probably the
defender
best
on-
guarding point guard defending point guard in the NBA.
Wait, Lionel, you had some. I was gonna go to number 2 and throw it to Marlon since this is his boy. This is his guy.
Right, I had a transition for this. Can I try out my transition?
Yeah, go ahead.
One player who we can all agree would be good, no matter what generation of the NBA plays in, is my man Luka Doncic. Luka, who is my wife and I were talking about this, so I don't know if y'all know this, but my wife Jessica's 5'2". She's Canadian, and she played point guard for her church league basketball team, and she was feisty. I tell her that she played point guard because she was the shortest person on the floor. And so like that's what short people do is they play point guard. She doesn't like that. But the other thing is that she is really fun to watch basketball with. She's fun to watch football with because she likes when like people hit other people. So like Dante Robinson was her favorite player for a while because he just tackles people. She really likes basketball because she'll be like, oh, that was a good screen or whatever. And I'm over here like, yeah, totally, man. Yeah, definitely. But we were watching, I think it was Toronto and
Brooklyn.
maybe, but like she was like, oh, that's a lot of white people on the floor at one time, which made me laugh, right? That like she would notice it. And I was like, listen, you're either like an American who is, from an ethnic background, or you're an Eastern European white dude. That's it. That's the NBA right now. But I think that with all of those guys who we see coming from Eastern Europe, Doncic is far and away the best player to come out of that sort of thing in quite a while. So Marlon, he scored 42 points in his playoff debut, which was a loss. Which it was against the Clips, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which also featured Kawhi with one of the funniest flops I've ever seen in my life, or like attempted flops. Have you seen that where he ran into a defender and like whipped his head back and like gave himself whiplash? That shit was. And then they also ejected Porzingis, right? For what I heard was pretty soft technical fouls. Yeah.
It was a terrible call.
Yeah, Marlon.
Go ahead, Ryan. No, go ahead. You got it.
So he got a foul called on him on a block, and he didn't agree with it. So he like punched in the air, like
Clean
with
block.
it.
Clean block.
Yeah,
Mike.
it was definitely a block and not a foul. Punched in the air with frustration, and they teed him up for that. And then the second one of the night was where it was Morris was bodying up Luka. And
Grabbed him.
Yeah,
And
grabbed
Luka-
him and then like shoved Luka, and then KP.
No, don't say that. He did not shove Luka. Luka pulled away. They had some words, and then KP interjected himself.
I'm pretty sure I saw
He didn't shove. He
Luka
did not
get.
shove Luka.
Well, I mean, How funny is
bump
it that
them.
Marcus Morris was in the mix?
Yeah. And then KP came in to defend his superstar, and then and it didn't even really do anything.
He came in, then Marcus Morris pushed him, and then they gave a double technical.
Yeah, and then out goes KP. The
Yeah,
double
it was
technical is the biggest cop out that a ref or an ump
Mhm.
can do in any sport. It's
Mhm.
like, make a decision. Stop doing this. Punish someone for what they did, and then
both techs were pretty. Like, I don't understand what in a playoff game how you calling either one of those. Let them play. Nobody's about to fight, and you can't even show emotion. He blocked them clean. He punched in the air, and like he punched the ref or punched in his direction or anything of that nature. I just think the NBA definitely has motives, clearly.
Right. I was gonna say, is this because the Lakers Clippers Western Conference Finals is what they're trying to get? Because we all know that the NBA is rigged.
Yeah, I think well, the Rockets and whoever else, Clippers or Lakers, could be an interesting series too. But I'm sure they want that showdown between Kawhi and Paul George and Anthony Davis and LeBron. That's the ideal outcome, I would say.
But who's to
And
say
then
that they would have won even if Porzingis stayed in the game?
They
were
would've
losing
won.
the lead.
No, they would have won.
They were losing the lead, like rapidly.
Yeah,
The lead was
but
rapidly getting cut into.
you can say a lot of things about Porzingis. One thing you can't say is that he isn't a great rim protector, as you saw in that blown call they had.
No. I won't say he's a great rim protector. He's really good. But
He's a great
did you
rim
see how many
protector.
times he was standing there at the rim when
I mean, what the
PG
shirt
just
say? What the shirt say? He's seventh behind Rudy Gobert and
right, like
contested
2.1
shots at the
blocks a
rim.
game. No, but
Yeah, but
there was
like
two
like
plays where PG glided in, and he was just standing there looking at it and was like, "Damn, that move was nice."
I mean, you can't get everything, but I'm sure he would have did better than Maxi Kleber.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sure of that. Like him taking him out the game changed the entire game. Maxi Kleber, he was missing threes and he can't attack the basket like Porzingis. Porzingis, when he rolls down the lane, he's a tremendous threat.
Why didn't y'all bring in the greatest basketball player on your team that you have and bring in Boban?
He did. He played a little bit.
Yeah, but
he's so stiff on defense, like in pick and roll situations. Like you seen him in John Wick. What is he gonna do? What is he gonna do against Lou Williams coming around the pick and roll?
Yeah, your agility is not one of your main attributes when you get beaten to death with a book.
Well, yeah, book.
I mean, he is like a whole 1.5 feet taller than Lou Williams, though. So just stand there and get your hands up. It's gonna be a tough shot.
Lou Williams looked like he needed some lemon pepper wings last night.
I was gonna say Lou's got a wing flavor at Magic City, Micah. Yes. So don't mess with Lou Will. So Marlon, the Clips tried everything they could to stop your boy Luka, right? Like it was everything short of Tanya Harding, that man. But he still dropped 42. Is Luka Doncic an unstoppable force of nature on the basketball court, or are the Clippers really just not super great at defending?
Nah, the Clippers are definitely great defenders. I think Beverly, Paul George, Kawhi, they have too many individual accolades and different feats they've done in the past to not just take that away from them now. I don't know how Luka gets around everybody because he's extremely slow. And it's like he just kind of like wiggles around people and slide around and just do some type of scoop layup or something.
Well, I mean, it reminds me of Kobe in like year 12, like when he was 35, he could still get past people in the basket, but didn't have that quick first step like he used to when he was younger. It was just craftiness.
He just keeps that ball so close, and he's so able to move. He just moves so well with the ball that.
Yeah, he got it on the string, just like kind of a little bit like Chris Paul or James Harden. A lot of people compare to Larry Bird. I think they're just saying it because he's white. He's really a lot like James Harden in the sense that he don't do all the dancing, but I don't think James Harden necessarily fast. He's a little bit quick, but he uses his craftiness to get around people and get to the basket and everything to score.
You just if you get your lead foot around somebody, their front foot, you can always get by him. And I think Luka and James Harden mastered that little get you off balance than go right by you. Because
Yeah.
Luka has that snatch he always does. That thing is so
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm not gonna lie, I was concerned coming into the series having Kawhi and
Boy.
Paul George facing them every night.
Let me ask you this: how nervous were you when that game started? Because it looked like they were about to.
Man, it was 14-2, man. I'm like, man, what's going on?
Luka had like 5 of those turnovers in the first 2 minutes.
Man, he had 7 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
But that's playoff jitters, man. First time playoffs.
Yeah. But he ended the game with 11. So I feel like if he had 7 in the first quarter, he really settled down a lot for the whole rest of the game.
Yeah.
Because I remember the game started off 14-2, and I was chilling with a friend, and I looked up again. It was like 50-36, and we were up.
Right.
And I'm like, that's just basketball, though. It's a game of runs. It'd be interesting to see what the Clippers do to try to stop Luka. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I don't think you can stop Luka though, because he literally dribbles the ball the whole entire game. Like they don't. There's like I only saw one other person bring the ball up the whole entire game. Like when he not counting when he was on the bench, obviously, but it's like they don't take the ball out of his hands, and that's why.
Why would you?
Let me ask you this: like, do you think they can actually have playoffs? Like, yeah, you can win games here and there, but can they win a series playing that style of basketball?
Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I heard Ryan say on another podcast the Mavericks had the #1 offense ever, which is true. We have the
But
highest rated offense.
seed they got a 6 seed with all that.
I don't care. I hear you. That's our defense is average. Okay. And Luka missed some games.
And they're playing in the Western Conference.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of different factors. The 7 through 2 is a matter of like 3 or 4 games. We could have been a 2 seed if we won some games, but so we have the highest rated offense ever. We run a 5-out system, so it's always space. We have plenty of opportunities for backdoor cuts, different pick and roll situations, and with our Luka Doncic Porzingis pick and roll situation, that made our offense even higher than our already greatest offense. Whenever we ran that lineup, it was I think 0.8 points higher than our already league high best ever. Not like this year ever, like best ever, like in history. How that's possible, I don't know. I don't know how we just the best ever offense ever, but apparently we are.
Luka, that's how.
The ceiling, to me, I'll just say, and you can rebuke this if you want, I think the ceiling for that kind of offense is James Harden. Like, and how the success he's had, and where you can get really deep in the playoffs, but you're not going to win.
Luka don't play like Harden. Luka don't play like Harden.
Wait, what?
Like, as far as so the type of passes that Luka does, he has Magic Johnson passing ability. LeBron James passing ability. Harden's a good passer. Harden just makes the open pass in their 5-out system. That's how he gets almost 10 assists. Luka has Magic Johnson vision where it's on the next level, where he gets a lot of assists to cutters as long as 3-point shooters. Usually Harden. Damn. Yeah, my bad. Sorry. Usually Harden, he's usually just kick out assists to 3-point somewhere, where Luka gets all different touches.
That's probably 80% of Luka's assists or kick out to 3-point.
No, I'm not saying. I'm sure it's a lot, but he gets a lot more cut assists because the Mavericks do a lot of backdoor action and a lot of cutting action. When he gets stopped in the paint, he'll get stopped in the paint and just dump it down to somebody.
Line. That's
Luka hits a lot of assists off of skip passes that other players wouldn't normally see or make either, though.
Except for James Harden
And Trae Young.
I would say maybe
James
Trae and LeBron.
Yeah,
there was a compilation of passes that Luka Doncic made that everyone was like losing their mind over, right? They're like, look at Luka's vision. And then James Harden doing the same passes. And everyone's just like, it's James Harden. Because everyone's used to James Harden, right? Like James Harden does some wacky shit. And we're like, James Harden. Marco, I want to rebuke what you said, because that's some James Harden slander, saying that like he can only get so far. You have to look at the makeup of the teams as well, right? Like, so James Harden's got D'Antonio as his coach, who, is just like, just shoot, who cares? That's we called it with machine guns, accuracy by volume, right? Like you have to be accurate if you're shooting 150,000 rounds. But the other thing is that Doncic, he's young and isn't getting paid very much, right? Like James Harden's getting paid. That Mavs team is also really, really talented, like up and down the roster with young, inexpensive, players. So they have more options than the Rockets do, where, so much of your budget is spent on James Harden, and then you end up with, like a 6'5" guy,
But I'm
playing
not
center.
just talking about current James Harden, because let's give James Harden a respect, because as long as James Harden's been the featured guy, he's consistently taken his teams deep into the playoffs. That's just who he is. Like he's great. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if a team like if the Dallas Mavericks played a team like Toronto, they'd probably only go like 5, because Toronto would lock that shit down. Like you're not just gonna have Luka dribbling the ball for 90% of the game.
So
and
if
find
the
a way to win.
Clippers don't lock it down, how Toronto gonna do
The
it?
Clippers look so out of sync defensively. We all watched the game. They look terrible
Come
defensively.
on.
The Raptors are a
game they played all season.
The Raptors don't have the horses that the Clippers do.
the Raptors are the most defensively sound team in the
No,
NBA.
I didn't say they were bad defensively.
defense,
They don't
not-
have the horses that the Clippers do. They don't.
But they don't need it, because if you can just rotate those players out and not lose any production or any skill on defense, then you don't need to.
Right.
Like, that's-
It wasn't Kawhi locking down Steph. It was
who is
Bam.
individually talented enough on the Raptors to stop Luka from doing what he's doing?
It's a
You
team.
don't have to stop Luka from doing what he's doing. You have to pick everybody else up. So the Clippers also couldn't stop Luka from doing what he was doing, but the Mavs lost. It's not about stopping Luka. It's about making sure that Luka has to, like, I've got to score. Luka can score 42 all he wants. If the team loses, who gives a shit?
Right.
We did not have Porzingis.
Quadruple
That
double.
helped.
Right,
They
but
lost their second best player
Right.
20 minutes into the game.
Yeah, that helps
But if
a lot.
if you watch the Raps, right? If you watch the Raps, like their second line, that you lose nothing in the defensive side of the ball at all.
Yeah,
And
but, okay,
you don't need
So
to
what-
have good man defenders if your whole roster is good at defending.
Right. And
I'm
they're all
familiar
IQ,
with the
their
Raptors.
IQ is high. And they're
Nah, so the Raptors, they run a 1-2-2 scheme with Pascal Siakam at the top, and they have the two bigs down low and two guards up top, and they have Pascal Siakam kind of just guard the ball or whoever's in the middle.
It's a boxing match.
Yeah, basically.
That'd be KP.
So they help a lot. And they have small guards. They have Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry that they play together. So you saying that if they play the Mavs, Porzingis, we have multiple big men that can shoot and pop. Kyle Lowry's, if he's shooting threes, Kyle Lowry, he's not there. He doesn't see him when he shoots, like at all.
What? He doesn't what?
He won't see Kyle Lowry or Fred VanVleet. KP, Kristaps Porzingis, I'm saying hypothetically with the way they run their defense, he won't see him at all. And since we have our 5-out system, you can't just let Luka score, because he will just get 42. I know we lost that game, but I mean, we did lose KP.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot have a person that ball dominant and still win. And then you can't win on a high level in the NBA. When does that ever happen?
I'm gonna tell you the difference.
LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron. But I'm gonna tell you the difference.
Loses more than he wins.
Luka hasn't
On
had the
bad
opportunity
teams,
to show yet. Luka
On
hasn't
bad
had
teams, LeBron
No,
is
but
never on bad
even-
teams. He always has
even
a
with
high-
LeBron. Luka hasn't had the opportunity yet. Luka's clutch though. James Harden's a choke artist. Luka is
What?
clutch.
You
Yes.
can't.
No.
A guy who consistently gets
No.
his team to the deep in the
No.
playoffs, you can't just say
Listen,
he's a choke artist.
I'm gonna tell you why he's a choke artist. Because will we all agree James Harden has one of the best handles in the game, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, you got one of the best handles in the game, one of the best offensive games in the game. Your team is 27 straight threes. Hey, so at some point, you got to go get some tools, dog. You get a layup, a mid-range, some free throws, something. You have to do something. And if you watch those games, he was shooting all the normal shots he shoot, the little step back threes. He was shooting all the same shots he normally take. It wasn't more difficult shots or better defense. He was just missing. Personally, I feel like he
Did Luka
consistently
not
does that.
airball a step back three last night when they needed him to hit one?
I'm not saying Luka was balling out. Nah, you can't criticize him after. You can criticize that first quarter.
Him. I'm not trying to
That
say
first
he's not
quarter.
great, but you can definitely criticize him.
Marlon,
you
just
can't.
stop
That first
slandering James Harden, man. You can't call James Harden a choke artist and not call
Nah, he
LeBron
is.
James a choke artist too. You just
LeBron
can't
doesn't
do
choke.
it.
Nah, LeBron. No, listen. So when has LeBron choked outside of Dallas? Because that's the only series I hear people say. So
When
I'm
he
curious.
when he like got mad at JR and quit for the overtime.
Yeah. How many
God.
how many final series has LeBron James played in?
What, 9, right?
Ryan, you're
9.
muted.
He's 3
How
and
many
6.
has he won?
3.
3. What's your point? That don't mean he choked.
He loses more
But you
than
said that James Harden, you're like, James Harden, you need to shoot the 2. I mean, Ben Simmons needs to shoot the 3. Who gives a shit? Like,
No, I'm
it's
just saying. No, it's not about him just shooting it 2. It's more so y'all missed 27 straight threes.
because the
So
way that they play is to shoot 53s
yeah, I get.
per quarter.
I understand that. But at some point, if you still in the game and you're the star of the game, you have to go get a bucket. You have to go put the ball in the hole however you can.
Move us on, Marco. I'm sick of this.
Okay. Yes, I love Luka. And this is not like, just to be clear, this is not a like Luka is not the greatest, one of the greatest young players we've ever seen, but we got to be objective as well. All right, so
Of course.
today the Bucks got upset by Orlando Magic, double digits, 122 to 110.
Yeah.
Giannis can't do it himself, can't hit jump shots, can't hit threes.
He's a choker.
He was 3 of 7 from 3.
Man, but that 7th one he took was ugly. They literally backed off of him by about 5 feet, and he started to drive for a second. He went no, brought it back out, shot it, and it went dunk. Off the back.
So we haven't heard from Micah in a minute. Micah, are the Bucks in trouble?
Yeah. I mean, maybe not for the Magic against the Magic, but we talked about it a couple weeks ago, and I said I think Coach Bud is a very good defensive coach, but when it comes to the playoffs, I've never seen him make adjustments on the offensive side of the ball that really worked. And like, it's like, so once you take away, or once his stud is struggling, he has nothing else. Like, all right, we got to get these other guys involved in the game plan, find a way to get them opportunities to help lift this load. It's just like, no, it's Giannis or bust, because Chris Middleton ain't going to be the one that's going to carry you home.
No.
And that's always, and now when I said it about the Hawks, y'all laugh because it's like, oh, that team was bad, but it's like, you have one game plan and there's no alternative to when your number one game plan isn't working, and that's always been my issue with it.
I'm on the record as saying that Bud's a bust in the group chat. I'm in the record. I think they lose to the Magic, just because I think that Bud teams are soft mentally. I think that Giannis is soft mentally. I think everybody's been building him up, telling him he's super super good, and then all of a sudden he gets this playoff shooty hoops, and all of a sudden he's facing real defense. But so Micah, what you're saying is that the Bucks might beat Orlando, but Orlando's that warning sign, sort of like what we got when Bud was here with the Hawks, where that initial series went longer than it should have, and then we got our shit stomped in by the Cavs. Who's gonna beat the Bucks? I want you to be bold. I want you on the record. Who's gonna knock the Bucks out of the playoffs?
I don't know what I think. If they get past Orlando, if they mess around and play Boston next, Boston's gonna beat them. And I mean, and like you, especially after last year, as long as Paul Pierce doesn't declare the series over before game 1, then Boston's got a chance.
It would be the Heat or the Pacers in the next round.
Yeah. Okay, they play the Heat or the Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think the Heat could put them out too. The Heat are a good team.
That's a talented team, dude.
That nobody really talks about, but Jimmy Butler is hungry.
And they're well coached.
And they're a little small, so they're going to have to do like a defense by committee thing on Giannis. But I do like Miami against them. So
Ryan, are the Bucks in trouble?
Not against the Magic. They'll bounce back. But, I mean, I think I said it 4 or 5 weeks ago. I thought the Celtics were coming out of the East.
Who said that the Bucks were going to play in the finals?
I don't think I said that. I said
We should have wrote it down. Was it me?
I don't know.
Whatever. I'm on the Raptors bandwagon.
I've been trying to ride with the Heat. I think,
Marco, are the
Heat are
Bucks
good.
in trouble?
I don't think the Bucks are in trouble. I think even last year, I think they lost the first game in their 1 versus 8 matchup, and obviously the big zero today, the loser of their day, was Chris Middleton and his unrelenting averageness. He was he played 31 minutes, scored 6 points. Like, you can't do that.
No, he had 14.
Was it 14?
Yeah, he went 4-12 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3.
What am I looking at?
What happened
14
with
points.
Bledsoe?
That's not that good.
Yeah, Bledsoe is Bledsoe. He shows up sometimes.
Well, no, but
Bledsoe was hurt. He was hurt for a little bit.
He was so
14.
promising in Phoenix. Then he gets to Milwaukee, and it's just like, all right, who is this guy?
Don't talk to me about Eric Bledsoe unless you bring up Terry Rozier.
What happened to Scary? Oh yeah, Scary Terry's in Charlotte.
He's in Charlotte, yeah.
Bledsoe is just a guy who's like not really good at anything, and he's
I mean, he
sort
scored
of
15.
strong.
He a good defender.
Yeah, he's like strong, and he has an attitude, like a good attitude, like for
Scores as many points as
I'd be
faults.
mad too.
But he takes bad shots, like, and he's not necessarily great at anything. He's better than George Hill though. George Hill's freaking terrible. All right, let's see what's next on here. So I guess the consensus is the Bucks are not in trouble right now, but they're gonna be eventually. Okay, in arguably the West's most competitive series, the Denver Nuggets defeated the Utah Jazz, despite Donovan Mitchell having a monstrous game. Mike Conley missed the game due to more important things in his life, and he's expected to return.
There's nothing more important than basketball.
There's nothing more important than bouncy ball. All right, so let's think of a question for this. What do y'all think of the legit chances of, okay, first, like Denver Nuggets actually being a contender, and then B side, how great is Donovan Mitchell? Marlon, let's hear from you.
For the Nuggets, who's their perimeter defender?
Gary
Need
Harris.
He's not playing.
Torrey Craig is
No.
Porter Jr.'s all right.
No.
Michael Porter Jr. is not a defender.
No.
He's
No.
also not going to survive. He's going to
Yeah.
die. He's going to drink bleach.
Right.
What's the
Yeah, so-
Put Bobo on the wing.
He can
that's
do
my
anything.
That's my gripe with the Nuggets. Donovan Mitchell. We'll see if he keep doing this. Donovan Mitchell has these games. He's done this in the past where he's had like great games or just went off. But then we'll see if he can keep up this energy. I don't think he can do it. I don't think he's that guy personally. But
So you got Nuggets in
6. 6. 5. Nuggets in 5. I'm gonna say 5. I don't like Rudy Gobert either. I don't like him.
Nuggets in 4.
No, they're getting swept. The Jazz are getting swept.
Swept?
Rudy's going to give Michael Porter Jr. COVID.
Over 20.
Zero.
Typhoid Mary.
Yep.
I saw that, Ryan. Marco, ask me.
Lionel, what you got on this?
I think this is the worst fucking series of the playoffs. Nobody gives a
Yeah.
shit about either of these two teams. They only look good because they're playing against each other. There's some decent young talent on both teams, but not enough to be a threat to anyone at all. This is one of those series in these initial playoff rounds that everyone, like, it's just there because it has to be. But like this series is a good good example of why the playoff field should be smaller than it is.
Right.
Because we just don't need these teams. Like, like Memphis isn't in the playoffs. Right.
Disparaging the Nuggets, they were like the 3 seed.
Yeah,
they-
the Nuggets are good.
I don't give a fuck. It's,
Look,
it's terrible.
You didn't even know who Jokic was at first. Don't talk to me about the Nuggets.
I knew who Jokic was. He's another one of those white Eastern European dudes. Vladimir Putin, he's another one. Listen, all I'm saying is that the Nuggets Jazz series is fucking trash, and I hate it. And if the Nugs make it past any of the other big players in the West, then I will be surprised. But good for Denver for having a basketball team. I appreciate that.
Micah, chime in.
As y'all know, I do love Denver. big Denver fan, a lot of their players, but I don't think they're a contender. I think they might win a series, maybe two, but I definitely don't think they're making it out of the West. I mean, too young, too inexperienced. They still have some holes that they have to fix. Honestly, I would have loved to see Bol play more, but I think maybe in a year or two they could potentially be a contender, but I just don't think they're ready now.
Didn't Gordon Hayward come from one of those two teams?
Utah.
Yep.
Oh,
I just will.
Whoa,
I will never.
Go ahead.
No, Utah's one of those teams, sort of like the Lakers. I'll never forgive them from taking like a really good team name from the city that it belongs in, like the Utah Jazz. You can't even fucking go to a bar in Utah.
I know.
Utah's full of people who don't drink coffee because they think it fucks with them. Like it's full of fucking Mormons. You can't have jazz in Utah.
Right.
Should have been the fucking Utah. Was it Utah John Smiths? The Utah polygamists. I'm mad. The Utah sister wives. These White Claws, man. They're coming to get me. I'm on one tonight. I'm sorry, Micah. Go ahead. What were you saying?
You're good. You're good. But no, like my thing with the Jazz though, I kind of agree with Marlon though. I'm like Donovan Mitchell is a monster. Spider is a monster. But I think he carries too much of a burden on that offensive side of the ball. You don't have enough, because as good as Rudy Gobert is a defensive player and a garbage man.
Mhm.
So
Not unless you pair him with Trae Young in the All-Star game.
Yeah. but my thing is he carries too much of that load. So he can't consistently put up 50. He can't do 50, 60 every game. It's, he's going next game. He'll probably put up, struggle to put up 20, 25. And you're going to see like them really struggle offensively. So that's my problem, especially with no Mike Conley. So
he's a bomb.
Conley?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
He could take a little pressure off of him.
Listen, basketball hasn't been good since they introduced the shot clock and the 3-point line.
3-point line.
All right. Possessions used to take the whole game.
So on our theme of ultra competitive series, today we had quite the slobber knocker between the Pacers and the Heat. And look what happened in here. So Oladipo got his eye poked out and he had to go out of the game.
I don't know about
R.I.P.
No, he got gouged in the eye. Jay Crowder was going for
He lost his eye today.
Man, can Victor Oladipo catch a fucking break, dude? Like this dude finally he was in Orlando for the longest time, right?
Yeah,
he finally gets out of Orlando. Yeah. And then he goes to like a good team. He has a good coach. He's like really good. And then just like he starts falling apart. Like he's cursed by Disney World, man. It's fucking my poor man Victor, man.
And they left it all to budget Kawhi to try to lead the charge. And Jimmy Butler was like,
Costco Kawhi.
Costco
Kawhi.
Kirkland's best Kawhi Leonard.
Oh man. But if Victor Oladipo can't play basketball, at least he knows he has a decent shot at a singing career. That's true.
That's true. He's very talented. So that he outscored the Pacers 32-21 in the fourth. And my pick for the finals is looking good right now. Ryan, what you think about my Miami Heat?
Man, they're good. I mean, I wasn't on the Bam train at first because he just kind of flew under the radar for me. But man, Bam has changed that team. His growth this season, he does everything for them. At 6'9", he plays center. He's a good defender. He's hella athletic on offense. He can stretch the floor for you, and he just plays smart basketball. He fits that Pat Riley mold for players that they always seem to find that no one really has. And he's changed that team now. Jimmy Buckets being down there, he's their main scoring threat. But not putting that pressure on Hero, as good as he is offensively, being able to go to Bam for a bucket down in the post or out on the wing and things like that, it just changes that burden that it puts on those first-year players. And, you have Goran Dragic, who's just a savvy vet.
Ageless.
Man, he's always been an offensive threat. He plays so well. He's another one of those Eastern European players for you, Lionel.
The
Don't
He's-
Eastern
forget
the
about
Jits,
Duncan.
the Jijix.
He's
Fucking
yeah,
Kobe.
they're
I
a
like
good
Duncan,
team
too.
I love the way they build teams. I've always liked the way Riley's constructed teams. So
Is Shabazz Napier still down there?
I don't think
I
so.
don't
I don't think so. He's on Minnesota or something.
Yeah,
If he's even still in the league.
That man.
I
was
think
a
he still
first-round
is.
pick.
Yeah, I think he's on Minnesota.
He was a lottery pick, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. But
Was
that
it
means-
UConn?
He's on the Wizards.
Okay, he's
Ah.
on the Wizards. That's what we don't know. I think he was dropping like he was leading. Someone was leading the Wizards in scoring.
Yeah, because John Wall never plays.
And
Or
Bradley Beal.
Bradley
was
Beal
dead.
was like, "Yeah, I'm not coming down there."
Bradley Beal's a-
I
Bradley
put up
Beal's a
50 in
Billy
back-to-back
bitch.
games and we still lost. Nah, I'm done.
I'm not coming down there. Rui, you got this, boy. Marlon, what you think about? Give me a hot take on the Miami Heat.
The Heat. I think they're a good team. They're pretty good on offense and defense. I think they're top 10 in both. I think they lack that star though. You don't win championships without no star. Like,
Jimmy
you just don't.
Jimmy Buckets isn't a star to you?
No, he's an
Not even
all-star.
a star.
Not like that.
He's
you
an
mean
all-star.
you mean superstar.
Yeah,
Not
the
on like
only,
a LeBron level.
I think
you don't even
they're
gotta be
groovy.
LeBron level. You just can't. Like, you have to be a higher level than Jimmy G though. I feel like Jimmy G is just a solid all-star. He's a pencil.
Jimmy B.
You don't think they could be like the 04 Pistons? They're real
Who-
like
no,
scrappy.
they don't have their roster not composed to be that. Bam is good as well. I like Bam. And they got some young dudes. I just feel like they play. So for the Bucks, for example, the Bucks are a great defensive team as well. So if they play the Bucks, are they going to be able to efficiently score? Because even though Bam can contain Giannis is unstoppable. Even in the loss today, he had 32 and 17. So, like, I don't think they have the firepower. I would pick the Raptors
They don't have
over
the
the Heat,
firepower.
personally.
Duncan is a sniper. Hero is a sniper. None average.
I
Damn near
think
20
I
for the
just
playoff
I
defense
think you
is
don't have to
different.
worry about Giannis against them though.
Yeah,
You got
they
to
build a wall.
Giannis against everybody. That's disrespectful to him.
Well, no, it's not disrespectful to Giannis. It's more so the other guys.
Lionel, what you got to think?
I think so. I haven't watched any Heat basketball since LeBron left because I just don't care. But I think I'm going to add them to my list of what would be League Pass teams if League Pass even mattered anymore. Only because I think Jimmy Butler is a fucking psychopath, right? Like he's like, well, I was dribbling in my room at 3:00. Like, fucking why, Jimmy? But
Right. How much
I
better you
think that might be enough to get them out of the East. Really, is Jimmy Butler's only like, especially if they can steal one from the Bucks.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the team is mentally soft. I am still on the Raptors bandwagon. I still think that they're going to repeat out of the East. They look just stupid good. But I like Miami. I don't like the Pacers because I grew up a Bulls fan. So fuck the Pacers. Fuck Larry Bird. Fuck Miles Turner. Prayers up for my man Victor Oladipo. though.
Are we all freeze or am I just freezing?
That's just you, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just me. Oh.
You're back. Hey, Marco. What I
Right.
said was I love the Heat, and they're my favorite team. And
Okay.
I also love you.
Yeah, Mike, you got anything to
Platonically.
add about the Heat? Thank you.
Huh?
Yeah, so you got anything about the Heat you want to add?
Oh, well, I mean, like I said, I think you know that's why I kind of disagree with Marlon on the Bucks thing. I think Giannis, yeah, you want to slow Giannis down, but ultimately, I don't think they have enough firepower offensively to beat the Heat in the 7-game series. And because I think you got too many snipers on the Heat. Even guys like role players like Jay Crowder, you mess around and leave him open, he can knock down a 3.
Iggy.
You got Dragic, none can shoot a little bit. You know, they have a really talented roster, and everybody on their roster can score in some way, shape, or form. So, yeah, versus Milwaukee, who it's like, is Giannis can score.
Then who?
Middleton maybe, he might give you a 20-point game, and then the next game he shoots like puts up an 8.
Middleton good for 20 points. Come on now, he's good.
Put up 6.
Yeah, he had a bad. He can't have
14,
a bad
my
game
bad.
ever.
It was
He had
14.
he had a bad game, but
Bro,
this
in
is the thing.
the playoffs last year, he disappeared in that Toronto series. It was like, we need somebody. Matter of fact, Brook Lopez was better in that Toronto series than Chris Middleton was. And it was like, all right, is Chris Middleton going to show up? Game 1. Yeah. Game 2. Yeah. Game 3. No. Wait. What the hell happened to Chris Middleton? He just disappeared.
Right. So why do you think these random
did that
people from the
gif.
Heat are just going to show up all the time?
Because they do.
And so
Well, it's just,
they in the playoffs? What you mean?
you
He
have
Chris Middleton 50, 40, 90 in the regular season.
Marlon. The Blazers are up 12 on the Lakers right now at the end of the first. This is playoff basketball. Anything can happen. Charles Barkley just said that if the Blazers beat the Lakers in this game, then they're going to sweep the Lakers.
Nah,
I don't know about that.
I don't think I think even though they're up, I think the Blazers are gonna get swept or gentleman sweep because
Gentlemen sweep where they take one
Hold
game.
on, save the
Yeah.
Blazers.
The Lakers can't shoot.
Yeah, for those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, I made the prediction earlier this week or late last week that if the Blazers made the 8th seed, so this was last week, they made the 8th seed, they were going to beat the Lakers in the first round, and Melo is going to be the one that hits the game-winning shot to send LeBron home.
Put that on record.
I was channeling my inner Lionel on this one.
Look,
This is
the problem.
why Pat Bev made Dame mad, man.
Right.
Because the Clips couldn't get past the Lakers.
He's
So
like,
the
"You
problem
take out
with
LeBron."
this Trailblazers Lakers series, they don't have anyone to even attempt to put on LeBron, and playoff Bron is a real thing. I know a couple of y'all are not the biggest Bron fans, but playoff Bron is a real thing. And if you don't have at least somewhat of an athletic defender, at least put in front of him as the front line of defense, you're not beating him in the playoff series.
Did LeBron even average 20 in this restart?
LeBron James has
I don't
4
know.
points through the first quarter.
It's okay.
Playoff Dame is a real thing.
Yeah. Who do the Lakers have to
legitimately
guard
don't have anybody to guard him?
Right. Who's going to guard the backcourt of the Portland?
Damian Lillard.
Dame Lillard, not LeBron.
Damian Lillard has 15
So,
points.
so listen, Dame Lillard, not LeBron, and the Lakers have tremendous rim protection. They
Bruh.
have some of the best
So-
drop coverage in their pick and rolls.
But
Because they have Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, and they got
what does rim protection matter when Dame's pulling up from half court,
Logo Lillard.
cashing three?
yeah.
The Lakers
Dame,
can't shoot.
Dame can shoot great, but Dame's not Steph Curry.
Who on the Lakers can shoot?
What do you mean? Danny Green can
Al
shoot.
Kuzma.
Kyle
Danny
Kuzma
Green?
can
Danny
shoot.
Green's like 40.
Danny Green missed like 14 free throws or 14 3-pointers in a row. Danny Green
So?
can't shoot.
Kyle
Who
Kuzma
has
is
the,
not a knockdown.
who has the
shooter.
record for most threes made in the finals? Danny Green.
They lost that series, by the way.
How long ago was that?
Listen,
Michael Jordan won six finals too. It's 6
Listen.
finals MVPs. So he's obviously going to be the best player on the court tomorrow.
Listen, playoff
the
basketball is different. Like, you definitely still have to make your shots, but that LeBron and AD pick and roll is going to be a problem. Like, I know they down now. I'm watching the game. They down by 12, but
just for
I'm not concerned
record,
at all.
I'm glad. And also, what's his face? You can put Trent on LeBron sometimes, and he's actually a really good defender. But
No.
I appreciate, Marlon, that you gave me. I asked for a hot take, and you gave me it. You said Jimmy Butler is not a superstar. And I will retort with the fact that Giannis is arguably not a superstar because he can't close games.
What?
All right, so
Moving
Hold
on.
on.
Moving on. Stats don't lie. Moving on. Playoff Giannis is a scrub. He's a choker. Him and James Harden are choking together, along with Sean Payton and the Saints. Hit us, Marco. Hit us with our last NBA.
So we got
thing.
one more topic. We saw Lionel's prohibitive favorites to come out the East slap down a very dilapidated Brooklyn team, a G League team, if you will, by 24 points. And this is a team that put up a great fight against Portland for that last spot. Levert was like, he's like, I'm gonna make my name tonight, but that did not happen against the Raptors. And is it possible that maybe the NBA should allow for teams to concede? Do we need a mercy rule in the NBA playoffs? Go ahead, Mike.
Yes. Yeah. In that scenario, yes. Just like, dude, yeah, just y'all just go home. Don't even worry, just pack. Don't even worry about playing the game. Yeah, you got the AC, but nah, go
Marco
home
by
last,
default.
okay.
Yeah, you got the AC by default. You don't even have your normal roster, not even half your normal roster. We're just gonna send y'all home with Memphis and
Without letting them get their stuff.
Here's your
thank
care
you,
package.
thank
See
you for
later.
playing your 8 games in the bubble.
Right, Lionel, mercy rule, or yes or no?
No! And I'm going to get into this when we get to the MLB. I want to lead with Fernando Tatis Jr. because I think that this is okay. You are a professional athlete, right? You are Kyle Lowry, okay? You're short. Marlon thinks that you wouldn't be able to see Chris Stapps wouldn't even be able to see you. There's so much slander for Kyle Lowry out there. Everyone's like, oh, he only won because of Kawhi. Meanwhile, Kyle Lowry's over here, putting up like 41 a game. Like he's just, but quietly living in Canada. Okay. Now you are playing a team that probably should have been in the bubble anyway. They're only let in the bubble because next year they're going to have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. So they were just like, we're going to let you in because, you did that. Your whole job as the Brooklyn Nets is to stop the other team from scoring points. There's no such thing as running up the score in professional sports, because why should I, Kyle Lowry, consistently slandered by people like Marlon Rogers, why should I not pad my stats against your shitty team that all got coronavirus just because they're worse at basketball than me? No, would Michael Jordan stop scoring? Would
Right.
Kobe Bryant not put up 89 against this Nets team? No. You are a professional athlete. Go play some fucking defense. And if you can't,
Hold that L.
who cares? What, Ryan?
Go ahead, Ryan.
I saw something. You just triggered a memory for me, Lionel. One,
I'm triggering.
I don't care to watch this Brooklyn team. I will not watch them because even when they got Jamal Crawford and Michael Beasley, they lost them. So it's like, oh, I'm not going to watch anymore. But I saw someone posted something about the Lakers and the last time they won a series without Kobe Bryant in the playoffs. And everyone remembers Kobe's number, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the one he's better known for.
Wait, 8 or 24?
I would say
Both
24 is
better
probably.
known.
Yeah, I guess. they're
Right, you just
equal.
talking about.
All right,
I think 24 is the one that most people would remember,
Yeah.
though, because that's the
If
most
you ask
recent.
people Kobe's
So?
number, yeah, I would say 24. That's what he changed to.
Okay.
So
96.
it's been 24 years since they've won a playoff series without Kobe Bryant there, Marco.
Dun, dun. Curse
Oh.
of Kobe.
He's our and
Dun,
Marco,
dun, dun.
Marlon, for you, Marco's our resident numerologist.
Yes.
AKA conspiracy theorist.
Dun, dun,
These are
Gematria.
dun.
numbers.
Gematria scientist. That's what I am.
It's not a theory, man. He's got evidence.
Marlon, mercy rule. Wait, Ryan, did you answer if there's a mercy rule or not?
If they want to concede, let them concede. I don't care.
What about you, Marlon? What you think?
Okay, so my idea, this whole mercy, bro, that's ridiculous. No mercy rule. I have a question to your question. Instead of a mercy rule, why is NHL the only sport that people can fight? That's what I want to know. Why does it work in NHL and not other sports? Like, why can't?
We've taken
Like,
a
why-
twist.
I think they get paid the least, so it's all good.
They're in Canada, my G. Most of them are Canadian or Russian, and like trying to tell those guys not to fight over hockey. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, trust me, man.
But even that scaled down.
I do think. Okay, so y'all know Chuck from Chuck and Chernoff. What's Chuck's last name?
Chuck Oliver.
Not Dowdle. Oliver, right? Chuck Oliver. That show is all ads right now, so I don't listen to it because it's just commercials, right? But Chuck Oliver had an idea. He said he wants to institute the NFL penalty box, So if you have an egregious enough penalty in the NFL, right? Like if you have a personal foul, like face mask or horse collar or something like that, that player has to leave the field and you are down to 10.
Ooh. For how long though? A quarter?
Right.
One play or like a series or something like that, because you get because in the NHL it's a certain amount of time and then you go on a power play, right? It's like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you finish the rest of the series with that player over on the sideline, think about how much fun it would be if you're playing like the Saints, right? And like somebody face mask Julio, and then that dude's got to go off the field, and then all
Julio's
of a sudden
uncovered for a play.
But wouldn't that be it's sort of like elimination
That'd be
NASCAR is
insane.
the other Chuck Oliver thing that I really liked, you know what I mean? Like drivers just get kicked out. They can't even collect their stuff. So I do think that I don't know if I want to watch more people fight, Marlon, but we could sort of talk about maybe what we could do is play basketball on like a hockey rink and then let them fight, right?
Well, it's not even necessarily fight. They don't even got to get to the fighting point. It's a lot of people in NBA. There's a lot of talk. It's way too much talk, and people act like tough guys. And I don't know. I just feel like you can't really foul people either. So you can't foul them, and we can't fight.
Bro, we're in the bubble though. Because we were just talking about this in the last show, I think, where Kyle Lowry was like, "I'm in room 835." It was just like everyone's in the same hotel, right? Like, come fight me, bro. Like he was like, "This is my room number. Let's fight." And then or when what was it? Joel Embiid called somebody he called him he slapped him, or he said he was gonna slap him.
Yeah, some shit.
And but like walked away like looking like I'm gonna slap you. It's sort of like that Astros coach who was like talking shit and then hid behind all of the rest of the players. You know what I mean? Like,
or Giannis had that fool, and no one came to his room.
We need Ron Artest back. Is what we need.
Yeah.
Not Meta World Peace. We need Ron Artest back.
Right. So my take on this whole mercy rule thing is like, no, I don't. No mercy rule. You hold that L. You're a professional athlete. You get a lot of money to hold that L, and that is what you should do. So that culminates our NBA segment. So I'm gonna toss it back to Lionel for some baseball talk.
Mako, great job, man. That was fun.
Thank you.
Baseball fucking sucks right now. For a number of reasons. But the biggest one is I have a love-hate relationship with the unwritten rules of baseball, right? And I think it's because a lot of them make things not fun. Okay. So like the unwritten rule where like everyone's throwing at the Astros, I'm on record saying that I think this is a great idea because none of those players got punished. So now we're just going to hit them with fastballs, especially since Altuve got like thrown out, stealing second in the last 2 weeks since we've talked. He's still hitting below 200. Like he's just fucking, he asked to get moved down to seventh, like batting seventh because he's just fucking ass. Like Jose Altuve is a piece of shit. But the unwritten rule where like you can't enjoy yourself, like you can't flip a bat.
Right. That's so dumb.
That's some bullshit. So the other day, the Fathers, if you want to, it's the Spanish for fathers. The Padres were playing the Rangers, who are also a shitty Texas baseball team. And they were up 7-1 in like the 8th inning or something like that. And my boy Fernando Tatis Jr. comes up to the plate, and he takes the pitcher to a 3-0 count. And he's a young guy. He's out there having a good time, and he missed the sign that said that he should take the next pitch, right? Because like that's the gentlemanly thing to do. Pitcher's got you 3-0. He's got to throw a strike or he's going to walk you. So you just take the pitch because that's what a good baseball player does. Tatis instead smashes this fucking ball. It hits a grand slam when they're already up 7-1. And then proceeds to have a really good time going around the bases, right? Tatis, I think it was today, he actually stole second when they were up by 6 in a late inning too. And just to like give everybody the finger. My problem with this is that, so the Padres manager was mad about it. The Rangers manager was mad about it. The Rangers threw at Manny Machado because of this, right? It got their pitcher suspended and their manager suspended. But like, fuck you, bud. Like the unwritten rules of baseball were written in like 1890, when women couldn't vote And, you know, we had just stopped owning people as property. And like, that's not a time of that's, you know, we're going back to, you know, the times when people, you know, you could have a free agent because clubs owned their players, you know, like it's unwritten rules. Like, why should we go back there, man? Like, why? This is why baseball is the shittiest sport in America right now, is because nobody can fucking have any fun because it's, you know, it's the gentleman's game. Like, shove it up your ass, dude. I hope Tatis hits a grand slam at every at bat for the rest of the series against the Rangers, especially because he's in a race with Mike Trout for the home run lead, and that at bat put him above Mike Trout in home runs. Like, this man is trying to live his best life. Like, how are you gonna fucking whine at him anyway?
It reminds me of I forget who they were playing, but the Patriots were up by some like ungodly amount on some team.
Dolphins.
The Dolphins, yeah.
About 30 against the Dolphins.
Yeah, you take it, Micah. You remember it.
They were up by 30 against the Dolphins. It was like 4th and 16 or something like that. And they were in field goal range, but instead of kicking the field goal, they threw the ball and scored another touchdown. And Dolphins were pissed about it. And, you know, they were like, well, stop us. You know, you saw we were coming out passing the ball. You could have stopped us. So
whereas DQ was a perfect gentleman in that Green Bay game and did not run up the score.
Fuck it. So the U.S. women's national team won the World Cup recently. I don't know if you know this, but they did it in part by beating the shit out of Thailand in the elimination rounds. They beat the shit out of Thailand.
It was like 13-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, Thailand barely has a team. The Thai women's national team, the woman who is bankrolling their team also employs all of the players so that they can take time off to play in the World Cup. And Alex Morgan scored like 5 goals. And after the game, and was like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like enjoying herself. And everyone's like, that woman shouldn't be having fun. After the game, they interviewed the Thai players and they were like, it would be so disrespectful if they had not tried to play. Right? Like, they're just like, oh, poor little Thailand, you can't play the sport. Like, no. Like, it's super disrespectful. You're also getting paid at least the league minimum. Fuck them. Micah. God, I hate fucking baseball sometimes. So our Bravos, we called up Christian Patch, right? Was this just this week, I think? Or like in the last couple days?
Hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So that's why I didn't see him. So Pache, he gets called up. This is why baseball's a fucking bag of shit. This isn't going to count as a year of service for him because, you know, rules or whatever. Why did we call up Pache? What's your gut on this one?
Well, Acuna's down, so leaves another hole in the outfield. He's young, a stud outfielder, not to mention pretty good bat from so far that we've seen in the minors. So you want to see if you can potentially get another Acuna's type player up, and considering this year's only 60 games, it gives you, and like you said, it's not going to be considered a year of service. So you can test him out at the bigs, see if he's ready or even close to ready. And if he's not, you can drop him back down to AAA next season. If so, then, you know, if he balls out, then you might have something for the future.
Pache is another power hitter, right?
Yeah, he's got a nice little pop to his bat. He and plays elite defense.
Pache.
Yeah.
Pache.
I was like, wait, who are you talking about?
Christian Pache.
Patch. Hey, why are we adding another power hitter though to this lineup?
Because we need more pitching.
Well,
No, but this is a question, right? So, Ryan, in the rundown of your question, and I think this is an interesting question. Your question is this the end for Ender Inciarte? Ender Inciarte is a Gold Glove defensive center fielder constantly. He does not contribute a lot on the offensive side of the ball. But if we're going to add another swing at everything, go for the long ball, strikeout machine to this lineup, why would we give up Ender Inciarte's amazing defense?
Well, a lot of the people, like Pache's been in the minors, and a lot of people compare him to Andrew Jones with his defense. So we're not losing much on the defense, if anything.
Assuming he comes good like everybody thinks he's going to.
Yeah, so I mean, bat-wise, I think he's about the same level that Andrew was when he came up, because he may hit 15 to 20 homers in a full season, but he was also going to bat like 260. but he also has the ability to reach where Andrew Jones was when he was hitting 45 and 130 RBIs as well, while still giving you Gold Glove of defense. So this is a guy that we've been sitting on because it's like, well, Acuna can play center, and we've got, Cakes in right field, and
but
Like don't be doing nothing, man. He just be,
like
don't be stealing no bases. He don't be doing nothing no more.
He's got the yips, dude.
But you mentioned Acuna, he's out right now, and
he should be back in a second.
Huh?
He should be back. He was only supposed to be out for 3 games.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying it's now is a perfect time to experiment. I mean, it's a short season. See what you got. I mean, you got a few of those AAA players who were borderline potentially being ready. Now's the better time than any to get them up to the bigs, give them a few games, see what they got, and see whether you like, all right, we might need to keep going. But if he balls out, then it could potentially be the end for Ender next year. Not this year, but probably next year.
Well, we tried to trade Ender last year, I believe, because when he was doing the same thing that he's doing now, we tried to get rid of him. So, I mean, he's been someone that's been on a short leash for a while, but I think the injuries in our outfield and just this weird season, we kept him around. But I will say that
change the scenery for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, we literally offered him up for a bag of chips, and no one took him last year.
Doesn't he only start getting good once like the sun starts going away and the heat goes down?
Yeah, I mean, he always starts the season off poorly, but Ender's been a weird guy. In clutch situations, he bats like 300. Like if he's got like runners on, or if he, it's like bases loaded, he's got like a great percentage as well. But when it, there's no
not a good leadoff
pressure.
guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, I don't know what. Maybe if make him a pinch hitter and only bring him up when the bases are loaded.
Cunha's still super young in development, ain't that the young boy with the dreads or the twisty hair?
Yeah. I was gonna ask Marlon about this, but I'm afraid that he's gonna say that Acuna's overrated and a choker. So I'm gonna pass on it.
I will say
just James Harden.
That
just to be clear.
We got the okay from Lillian Bunker, Andy's daughter, that Lillian is tired of Ender playing for the Braves, and it's Pache time, is what she says.
Pache time.
Wow, she's spitting hot takes. See, this is what I mean.
Day one.
Let's get both.
With the hot takes.
Let's get the newest Bunker out here on the show. So
we actually have to see our guest off. He is out of.
Oh,
time.
Marlon, you out?
Yeah, I'm gonna check out this Lakers game. Y'all telling me the Trailblazers gonna win? I wanna see it. I wanna see it with my own eyes.
All right, Marlon. Thanks so much for joining, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. We hopefully I can come back like mid playoffs. We could check up on the NBA situation, maybe talk some football, whatever.
If Luka makes it to the finals, we're not bringing you back on, by the way, because we don't.
I think we have to.
It's not a full representative season if they make it.
Right.
So just for the record, Mavs in 6.
What?
Okay. Okay.
Mavs in 6. All right, we about to pull it out.
They're gonna win those
Mavs.
ones at home, right? They're gonna win those at home.
Yeah.
All 6.
Hey, the refs. It was the home cooking because game 1, supposed to be we was in LA. Doc Rivers played off the ref.
We didn't have that home court advantage. That's why we
right. So we gonna steal game 2, win them both at home. They might take game 5, but game 6 we gonna bring it home in our home court.
I'm gonna try to find a way to put asterisks in the Mavericks name just in case they do make it all the way. Just to mess with you. All right, Marlon. Thanks so much, bro. Appreciate it.
All right, you guys have a good night.
All right, man.
That was Marlon Rogers. You can catch him on Ryan Dollar's Xbox Live friends list whenever they're up at the party. Yo, so I want to talk a little bit about some stats really quick. So we currently have 2 players who are batting over 400 for the season, and 1 player who's batting 392. You've got Charlie Blackmon, DJ LeMahieu, and Donovan Solano. Donovan Solano's at the 392. Bruce Hooper's batting 364. In the ERA category, our own Max Fried has the second best ERA in Major League Baseball with a 1.24. So if we're looking at like Charlie Blackmon hitting over 400 over the course of the season, and potentially beats Ty Cobb's 366, does that count as breaking the record if it's a 60-game season? No, you guys don't think so?
No.
Okay.
You know, baseball traditionalists definitely wouldn't let that happen.
I already
Fundamentalists.
talked about it. All right. So the other Braves focused things that we have are less fun. The first one is that our rotation is fucking ass. Just top to bottom. And this is something we talked about before the season started on this show. You know, our rotation's the weak spot, that and the strikeouts. And all of that is coming true because our podcast is basically Nostradamus as a podcast. What are our options? Like, are you going to trade to try to fix the bullpen? I have opinions on this. I'm going to not give them right off the bat. I'm going to ask Marco, how would you fix the Braves rotation? Or would you?
How can you even in this like COVID season, are trades even allowed? Like, how does that even work? Everything's normal?
Yeah. You know, there's like 6 trade windows. They all happen next week.
I think the solution is that we cannot win as long as Snitker is our manager. I think that's the solution.
You know what? Fine. That's a valid answer. I asked. Whatever. Okay. Thank you, Marco. Micah, fix the Braves rotation. How would you do it if you would do it without saying Brian Snitker?
No, I wasn't gonna say Brian Snitker. I actually like Snitker, but
old school baseball, man. 1, 2, 3 baseball.
It's hard.
It's 15 in a row.
I would think if hopefully we got to get Tukey more consistent. I honestly think Cole Hamels coming back can't hurt. It could help a little bit. I mean, it's not a big splash, but I mean, yeah, he's like 50 years old, but I trust his decision making on the mound more than I trust like Fulte and some of the young guys.
This answer sounds like my answer for the best front office in town. There's lots of butts attached to it.
Yeah. Now, bear with me. This is going to take a lot. But what if they were the worst instead of the best?
A 3 with our offense and our firepower. Like last night, I mean, I turned the game off only to realize we won in the 9th. With our firepower, you just need a pitcher who doesn't give up 7-8 runs in the first few innings. You need a starter who doesn't give up 7-8 runs in the first few innings, because that's our problem right now. We have too many guys giving up in the 3rd inning. We're down 6 or 7 to nothing because they're just getting shelled right out the gate. So I think you potentially, and I'm sure there's some pitcher out there in free agency that nobody spent money on that we could probably get to patchwork. But I think with our offense, we can kind of patch it together. We don't need to make any big splash moves necessarily to continue to be relevant.
I wonder if we could convince David Wells to come pitch still. What is he, like 55?
Nolan Ryan still might have a few years in him.
Micah, you don't have to worry about Mike Fultonevich coming back. He's currently pitching for the Sydney Blue Sox of the Australian Baseball League, who have a negative 47 run differential. So you can see that I follow the Australian Baseball League, just to let you guys know. Ryan, how would you fix the Braves rotation, or would you?
Yeah. Now is the time to make the move. In a season where a lot of teams that are on the fringe or just, not quite where they've expected to be, now is the time to pluck one of those starters from each one of those teams or multiple. Like there's those 2 starters on the Indians that aren't happy, and they're both pretty good. It's like, what's their names? It's like Plutko or whatever. It's Savali. Either way, they're both pretty good, and they don't want to be an Indian because there's a lot of friction in that
they don't want to be an Indian.
They don't want to be an Indian.
That's racist.
Not what I mean. There's lots of friction in that clubhouse right now, and one of them pissed the whole thing off. So, I mean, there's players out there on teams that could be got if we're willing to trade like Kyle Wright if we're willing to trade Ian Anderson.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Are you willing to move some of those key pieces to get those?
Yes, I'm so tired of being the Braves and saying we've got all these young arms down there, and then we still don't roll them out for 3 seasons.
Well,
trade them or bring them up.
We just gotta play baseball.
Our farm system is so deep.
When we bring them up, though,
we want Acuna.
Right, Tukey sucks. Max
Folty.
Fried turned out all right. Folty sucks. Yeah,
Newcomb.
So
You got the stuff, though. You got the stuff.
You know what? I was watching a game the other day against the Marlins, and it just really pissed me off because the Braves have turned into one of these organizations that just they go and get these hard throwing guys, and they don't get pitchers anymore. You don't have a Glavine, you don't have a Maddox, you don't have a Millwood, you don't have these guys that get people out through what a lot of people call the soft stuff now. Because Hernandez on the Marlins was out there. I think he struck out like 6 in a row on the Braves.
Fernandez.
Yeah, Fernandez. And he was topping out at like 89 and 90, left and right. But his stuff was so good and his placement was so good that these guys were just either swinging and missing completely or as a dribbler to the second or a dribbler back to the pitcher. I miss those guys, and I want to get our organization back into that because high velocity equals long home runs too.
I don't think those kinds of pitchers exist very much anymore.
They do. They just don't get they don't get the looks anymore.
Well,
which is sort of
the 4th inning.
That's sort of what I'm saying is that, like, the way the game is moving, you're going to have a hard throwing pitcher that's got some, like, a little bit of stuff. He's going to take you to the 5th, maybe like 5th and 2/3. And then you go to the bullpen and you just pull out 100-mile-an-hour fastball guys for the rest of the game. And that's not just us. That's almost everywhere.
Yeah, no.
I agree with you, but here's where I'm going to disagree with your assessment of how the Braves are doing things. So we have enough pitching prospects that we could trade those pitching prospects for a couple pieces, right? But not a full rotation. So what you do is
you have 2 guys.
Right, but that's what you do is you bring these prospects up and you run them out at 3, 4, and 5, right? Like all we had was Soroka, and then we saw we had Fried. So you keep bringing these prospects up and you see how many of them can stick. And once you have what feels like a good rotation that you can trust, which is not something the Braves have had for a couple of seasons, then you trade everybody else. The other option is that Marcus Stroman opted out of this year with the Mets. He will become an unrestricted free agent without playing a game for the Mets. And Stroman is a really good pitcher. So to answer my own question, I would not fix this rotation this year because all of the teams who have good pitching that they want to trade and know the Braves don't have good pitching are going to bend them over the barrel because it's a 60-game season. And at this point, you're just like, fuck, I need pitching because everyone's going to be like, the Braves are going for it. I think we got enough pop if they can get consistent, right? Because we're talking about like how streaky we are and all the strikeouts. I think we've got enough pop that if we can get everybody hitting at the same time, we can make other teams chase the game so much that it doesn't matter how good our starting rotation really is. You know, we just have to score 5 runs in the first 2 innings and then make them chase and not give it up.
Luke don't come in.
Well, he's, Will Smith is, getting jiggy with it and going to be our closer. And then I think next year, like this year, this is what we got. But I think for next year, you have to start looking for, like what you said, Ryan, I think we've got enough pitching prospects. It's time to turn them into something else, So like turn them into sign Marcus Stroman, pay the fucking man, and then trade for somebody from the Indians. And then all of a sudden we have 4 quality starters. And then that 5th starter is that last one. But now all of a sudden your pitching staff isn't really the issue. You can start trading those other prospects for bullpen and closer relief and stuff like that. I would be
solid now though. I love it, but
it's okay.
The front end, it fucking sucks.
Yeah. Well, but this is in
prospects.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm also tired of people just fucking hitting home runs. One of the things that makes Ronald Acuna so fucking nasty is that he can hit a bomb like in a second, right? But if you already got 2 people on base ahead of him, that's worth more runs than if the two guys ahead of him struck out. You know, you got Freddie betting cleanup. Everybody strikes out. It's bullshit. Big shout out to the guy that Ryan has slandered his entire career, Dansby Swanson, who's leading the team in batting average and also RBIs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dansby hit that walk-off the other night.
Launched it to
Said to be an all-star a couple weeks ago.
Listen, Lieutenant Dan's, I'll be honest, I haven't watched a lot of baseball. I've been reading. I do this thing in the summer where I read apocalyptic books. So I'm reading one right now where all the men in the world died except for like a few.
What's the name of that book?
Afterland.
Oh,
There's also a
I'm
comic
thinking of-
series called Why the Last Man. That was the same sort of thing. They're turning that into an FX show. Not a sponsor. Anyway, so I've been watching, but it's good to see my man Costco Culberson coming through in the clutch. You guys know that I've been a Dansby fan. He's got the best hair on the team. And that's the only thing I care about when I'm picking baseball players.
Yeah, and that beard combo, you got to go.
Yeah, man. That's it. Let's call it. It's 10:30. I wanted to be out of here an hour ago, but you guys are so much fun. This was a good show. We had a good time. Yeah. Lightning
I got
round.
your
Anybody?
Yeah, I got
All
one
right.
for you.
Ryan, hit us.
So I want to know what your guys' favorite like nostalgic food is, and let me qualify that for you. So it's like a food that you used to eat as a child that you're supposed to have outgrown. That your taste buds are supposed to be, more. Yeah, I know, Lionel. I feel the same way about this, but you're supposed to outgrow these type of things, and they're the type of snacks that you wouldn't eat normally, or it's like a food that you just really enjoy that you shouldn't eat as an adult. And if you were to choose that in front of other adults, they'd be like, what? And I'll lead off.
Or you mean in front of my spouse, like every week?
I think we're actually at a bit of an advantage here, Lionel, since we both have kids and we have those foods around us a little bit more.
Right. These are for the kids.
Oh yeah, this oatmeal cream pie is definitely for Cruz. I won't eat those. But mine is, and I want you to attach some like feelings to these. Some of these foods that you eat, and you're like, I remember being 8 years old playing video games and it was rainy outside, and this is what I would eat. So mine is like just a classic grape jelly, peanut butter and jelly on white
Hell
bread
yes, dude.
with a glass of milk.
Mhm.
Like I had one the other day, and like it just started me on this run, and I've had like 5 of them in the last week. And I just love them, man. They're so good. Like you bite into them, you're like, I'm a child again, and everything is great in the world. What are taxes? I want to go play.
Yeah. Who's Donald Trump? Was he in that Home Alone movie?
Did you cut the crust off?
No, I love the crust. Like crust
me
is
too.
part of the bread. Micah, what's yours?
Ooh, I actually have a couple.
Let's hear them.
Like, first thing that popped in my head was like Beanie Weenie.
Yeah, Beanie Weenies, man. I love that shit. My whole diet could fit on this list, Ryan. This is a bad question for me.
This is my whole
Food.
cabinet.
Beanie Weenies, Sloppy Joes. Because I haven't had Sloppy Joes in I don't know when.
Sloppy Joe.
What was the other one?
List for this week.
What was the other one I thought of? Damn.
Dunkaroos.
Yo, I fucking found some Dunkaroos.
They're back.
Except they were like, I found they were like Dunkin' like yogurt. Like they've got like Yoplait Dunkers, and Jackson was like, "Can I have these?" I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, you can, dude." So we're like sitting on the couch watching cartoons, eating these things. I'm like, I'm 34. I have a master's degree.
All right, the last one was the old school Flintstone push pops.
Oh yeah, bro.
Wow, yeah.
The orange.
They had like
The
and they had like
orange,
the
man.
nerds in them too. Oh my god, I used to love those things.
The orange with Fred on it. That was my shit.
They used to hurt your hand when you push the stick
That
up.
plastic stick. Ah!
It's
Right when you
worth it.
first get them, you got like,
Yeah.
This is going
It's
into my
totally
wrist.
worth it.
What about you, Marco?
Oh, like Lionel said, this is pretty much. I'm trying to think of one that I have stopped eating.
that's a better question.
Right, because I still vote Cinnamon Toast Crunch, oatmeal cream pies. I love cheese.
I gave
balls.
up sugar in a bowl.
Right, hot Cheetos. But I guess my favorite, most nostalgic one, and this is bad. I will get criticized for this, but I actually enjoy Little Caesars pizza. That used to be like my go-to when I was a kid. Remember they had the little table? They'd put the little white table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pizza, my man.
They
The,
they definitely downgraded in quality, but I still love their low cost, high efficiency pizzas.
Me and Micah used to kill that. Like when we were like early 20s, like when we
We're
first
like
met.
21, 22.
We would go over to my place, sit down and play video games, and go and order like 2 pepperoni hot and readies and just smash them while we played
Bruh.
Madden for hours or like Castle Crashers.
Oh man. Yeah.
Nicole
I
gets
miss
on to me.
those
She's
days.
like, "That's not real pizza," and I'm like, "Yeah, it is."
Yeah, it is.
Does it have cheese? Does it have sauce? Is it on top of bread? Mind your fucking business. I'm just
Like,
kidding,
what?
Nicole. Thank you so much for all the help that you give us with this podcast.
Pizza
We love you.
snob.
We love you, Nikki.
What about you, Lana? What you got?
So when I was growing up, we went through a couple of different like phases at my house. But for most of it, we were really, really poor. But my mom still would never let us eat certain things. So like I didn't have Wonder Bread until I was a grown ass man. And she would always get us like good, like crunchy peanut butter. So like if you go with me to my pantry right now, you will see inside of the pantry that there's smooth peanut butter, Wonder Bread, and Welch's grape jelly in the fridge, right? Which it has like no fruit in it at all. These are things that my mom would not let me have. So that there's that. You know, the one thing that she did say that she never gave me shit about was like really fucking terrible cereal. So this is the one that Jess gives me shit about. It's like Jackson doesn't like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but I think it's the best cereal on the planet. He just doesn't like it. So when I buy it, she knows it's not for him because the Lucky Charms are for him and the Cinnamon Toast Crunch is for me. And like as a kid, I would legit like pour it in a mixing bowl because I was like, I remember like I would eat out of a cereal bowl. And I'm just like, wait, there are bigger bowls in the house. And like, you know, turn on that like Fox Kids cartoon, you know what I mean? And then just fucking just like shovel it in my face. But I think the one that evokes the most memories for me, and I'm going to get shit for this because it's nerdy, is something that my mom used to make for me, and that's cream of wheat. You guys ever had cream of wheat?
Ooh,
Yes,
That's
yes.
one that I forgot about that my mom did the same thing.
Yeah. So I've got
So
cream of
good.
wheat. I got cream of wheat in the cabinet. And my mom used to make it like start boiling the milk, you know, which like you got to babysit that thing and then it's stirring it with the whisk, right? But you got to have it on like low because otherwise the milk's gonna burn. And
Gotta
like
stir it for like 30 minutes.
oh, it takes forever. It's the longest hot cereal. But you do that with like some sugar, just like regular sugar on top, or maybe some syrup. And
Mhm.
that is still my like. I am really depressed. I'm gonna have breakfast thing. No one else in my house eats it. The box is there for me, but it's very specifically like my comfort breakfast, you know, when I just need to feel like, you know, my mom's going to help me tie my shoes or whatever. That's my jam.
I'm going to have to put cream of wheat on my next shopping list because I love cream of wheat. It's
How does cream of wheat compare to grits?
It's like the candy
Similar
version
but
of
different.
grits.
Yeah, similar, but it tastes better.
It's wheat. Yeah. The granules are smaller. It's overall a creamier experience. And the taste is different because, you know, grits are corn.
And then when grits, if you put sugar in grits, they immediately turns to like liquid.
You're a Yankee too if you do that.
Ugh,
I've been told.
do that. Y'all
No,
do that?
I've done it, but only because I couldn't get a hold of like oatmeal or cream. Something about like hot cereal for me is like,
Yeah.
maybe it's because, you know, in Chicago during the winter, also we were poor. Cream of wheat cost like $1 for a box that lasts for 8 months.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, that's my shit. So Violet has started coming around on it. Jackson's not sold because it doesn't have dinosaur eggs that turn into dinosaurs when you add the water to it. So
Well, you know, it's like with the grits though. I'm more likely to do sugar because I've always been a bigger fan of sweet than salty. Some people are like, oh, you got to put salt in grits, and I'm like, I just not a big salt fan. So you know,
Yeah,
both will
salt,
kill you.
butter, salt,
Right.
butter,
Yeah.
cheese, some bacon bits.
I mean,
That's
I'll
my
eat it either
choice.
way. I'll have one quick
shrimp.
admission before we move on to the next thing. And I don't know how I didn't get diabetes as a child, but I would take brown sugar cinnamon oatmeal, 2 packs, put it in there, and then I would get a brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart and use that to scoop out the brown sugar cinnamon oatmeal and eat it that way.
The brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart is the best Pop-Tart flavor. And if anybody tries to argue with me about that, I will fight you in the fucking street.
It is so good.
Right.
It is perfect, especially when you get it like hot.
That's
just
also
warm
the best
enough.
flavor of oatmeal. though.
That and
Yep.
cherry. That and cherry are my two favorite flavors.
Yeah, cherry's pretty, the OG.
You're right about the
frosting or no
oatmeal, too.
frosting
Frosting.
on the
Frosting.
cherry.
Yeah.
Oh, on
See,
the cherry?
Yeah, I
On
like
the cherry, no frosting.
Right, I like the no frosting with just a
I can't
chunk
have
of
any
butter on it
frosting
and
with
melt it.
frosting.
No, dude, because the with the butter on it, yeah. Because the
Mhm.
the problem with the cherry frosting is it also has like the cherry like sprinkles on it,
Yes,
and it's
yeah.
just too. It's like it's too much. But if
It
you
really
get it
is.
with just the cherry filling, that's one of the places that like toaster strudels outperform Pop Tarts is with
Yeah.
the fruit filling, right?
Oh yeah.
Because like you get like a little bit of the butter from the crust and stuff like that. So it's sort of like a pie at that point. But the brown sugar cinnamon Pop Tart is the perfect snack food. Like it is like if I see it in like a vending machine or something like that, I'm like done.
Gimme.
Like it's that shit does that box of those Pop Tarts do not last at my house because
love the
everybody
toasty
in this house
edges.
eats them.
The toasty
Yeah.
edges of Pop Tarts is probably I just love.
So when I eat them, I break it in half. I pop the edges off and eat those first, and then I like separate the Pop Tart. So I Oreo it.
You're a
You know what I mean?
deconstructionist.
Right, but Oreos I don't pick apart. I eat the Oreo like a whole
Wow,
ass
you
cookie. Anyway, that's been the Fish and Grits podcast. This was fun coming back, guys. What, Ryan?
Let's do shout outs real quick or suggestions because I have one. I have
Oh,
one.
Rex. Yes.
Yeah, Rex.
Hit me, Ryan.
I'm gonna wreck me and Nicole's food Instagram, $1 bites.
Yeah.
And I realized I'd never done that. And I was like, oh. Well, as I brought it up to Nicole, she very casually pointed out, she's like, you don't need to. Our food page has more followers than your Instagram, your podcast. And I was like,
Ooh, burn. Wait, how many followers do
Ouch.
you have on your food page?
I don't know.
The difference is
been
that
around
we do
longer,
this
though.
podcast for us, Nikki, not for the fans.
Right.
But
Has Brett Coleman been on your Instagram for food?
I will say that we're both foodies, but I realized the other day that we are two totally different types of foodies. Nicole loves to research food, understand what's in it. She will seek out food too if she sees something that she wants, and she does all the research. And then she'll reach another stage of it is, how can I make this at home and make it better? And it's like, oh wow, that's really cool. And I realized that, yeah, I'm a foodie, but I'm more so the type of foodie that's like, tell me what's good to eat, and I'm going to get that, but I'm also going to get the best version of it. Like if I make burgers, I'm going to go get like high-end ground beef and make my own burgers. If I'm going to eat a steak, I'm going to order the $130 steak because I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, I've experienced steak. I want to try the best of what it is all the time. And then I'll go down from there because I'm not going to spend $130 on a steak every single time. But that's the way I do it. But she's on a different level. She wants to understand it. She wants to build it. She wants to, she'll seek out all types of food. And she's definitely introduced me.
I'm so not a foodie. It's weird that she's like that. I don't.
Yeah,
even-
she loves it, man. She loves that type of stuff.
That's weird that your
sounds like me with
stepbrother-
drinks.
My body
Yeah,
isn't a
we're
temple;
all
it's
our-
a trash can. So just shove the fucking
Excuse
shitty.
me.
Yeah, give me the little Caesars. I'll take it with a side of garlic butter.
But you can find us on Instagram at $1 bites.
It's a really good follow, actually. Everybody, some of my favorite Instagram stories from Nicole would be when she does these like food journeys where you could tell that she's like, today I'm gonna make marzipan cookies or like whatever the fuck, and she's like, I'm gonna make these dip tacos, and it's like 75 stories, and I'm just like, number one, how come your kitchen looks like it's on a Food Network show, and number two, how are you so good at this? So I'm over here like trying to make a grilled cheese. Like,
She picked up baking not too long ago and was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot, and like it's mastered. I was like, what?
I've heard.
Yeah, it's really-
Have any of y'all ever made grilled cheese with mayonnaise as your instead of
Yep.
butter on the outside?
Yep.
Sorry to do this one last time, but one thing that I picked up from Plies, and that's actually a fried peanut butter and jelly sandwich. If
So
you've
good.
If you've never done it, you need to do it. Make your peanut butter and jelly, put butter on both sides of it, and then put it on there and fry it in butter. It is the best sandwich ever.
Coming from afar. That's
That's
a fucking
Praz, not
bop.
Plies.
Oh, I don't give a shit about Plies. Shut up. I tried to make a grilled cheese with the mayo on the outside of the bread for Jackson because we were out of butter, and so I was like, he won't. That motherfucker could tell the difference immediately. He's
Apparently,
like,
they
Daddy,
say it works better because the butter burns and mayonnaise doesn't.
it browns better. But Jackson took a bite and he's like, you did something different. You've changed.
Come to the back for your lashings, father.
You've messed up my grilled cheese experience.
Micah, recommend something to me, Micah.
Oh man. So I was driving. I went to the grocery store to pick up some snacks for work because I just started keto. So I drove past a restaurant that I love, but I hardly go to because they're the only two locations I know are one in downtown Decatur, one's off Lucky Street. Ted's Montana Grill. Bruh, the bison burgers, bison meatloaf is so good, and they're building one less than 5 minutes away from my job. So it's just like, let me see how I can make some keto some keto trips over there.
Keto burgers. Yes.
Yeah.
You'll have to become a big fan of burgers with no buns on keto, man.
Oh, trust me, I know. Just be like, hey, let me get it on
A lettuce bun.
lettuce or something.
Mako.
I'm trying to think, who was that? I was watching someone on Instagram and they literally cooked 2 bison burgers and some
Shannon
other
Sharp.
shit. That was Shannon Sharp.
over rice.
Yep.
Like, nigga, that's not a meal, bro. But my recommendation is some garbage. Pull up at Wendy's and get that jalapeno chicken sandwich. That thing is
Hell yeah. That shit's so good.
it's so good.
Oh.
Jalapeno chicken sandwich, you say?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it's got a really good sauce on it. It's got
It
some
does.
I think fried onions on it too,
Yeah.
and some bacon. That shit's my jam. Yeah, good
Really
job.
good.
Except my Wendy's always fucks my order up every time. So especially if I order that shit through DoorDash, it'll be missing a whole sandwich and everything's a Diet Coke, and it's just it's fucking Wendy's. Help me out here, bro. I'm trying to like it. My Rex, I got 2. The first one is White Claw. If you haven't had it before, it'll sneak up on you and it'll turn you into a basic white girl.
Damn it, Jennifer.
Yeah, my second one is voting. I recommend that you fucking register to vote and go vote. Joe Biden is officially nominated as the Democratic nominee. Let's get Donald Trump out this fucking office, please. The Trailblazers are up by 1 at halftime, 57-56. So I really hope that I'm still good. Today's episode was brought to you, as always, by Sway Sauce. I'm almost out of the habanero. Carl, hurry up and get the factory sorted out. We got to buy some more sauce. Also, I got to go pick up my merch. I'll try to do that for next week's show so that I can rep the merch. We're also brought to you by my quarantine beard, which only exists because my wife keeps saying that she likes it, but I hate it, and it's curly and it's disgusting. And Chef Flu, loving the flu. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
On Instagram. And from our newest cast member, Lillian Bunker.
Shout out.
Congratulations, Andy, man. We appreciate you, dude. Yeah, we'll see you guys later. This has been the Fish and Grits podcast. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Adios.